All right, this is the Town of Lake Park, Florida Special Call Community Redevelopment Agency meeting for Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. The time is now 6:30 p.m. Can we please have the clerk take the roll call?
Board Member Taylor, Board Member Thomas.
Present.
Board Member Hensley.
Here.
Vice Chair Glass Castro. Chair Mashad.
Here. Can we all please rise for the pledge? And can we have Ms. LeDuc lead us off in the pledge? Since she's so ready already. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, please be seated. We have nothing under special presentations. I have no public comment cards. Let me take a peek and make sure I'm still on the right meeting. Yes, we are. And with that, we have the consent agenda, and I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the item on consent.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing, hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Consent passes. Under new business, we have Resolution 109-1224, approving the assignment and amendment of the grant agreement with Brooklyn Cupcake to Liberty Square LLC. Executive Director, passing it off to Ms. Allison.
Yes. Good evening, Board Chair, Board members. Allison Justice, CRA Administrator. Tonight we have before you a resolution that is approving the assignment of the grant agreement that's with Brooklyn Cupcake to Liberty Square LLC. Liberty Square LLC is the property owner at 796 10th Street. The grant agreement, original grant agreement with Brooklyn Cupcake was to install a grease trap, some other infrastructure when they moved into the building. This was a 5-year grant. It was amortized over 5 years. There's currently 33 months left, approximately $76,000. In order to relieve Brooklyn Cupcake of this obligation, they have vacated the space. They've terminated their lease. The benefits of this go to the property owner because it is a grease trap. The space is now situated for a restaurant. And there is a provision in the lease that allowed for us to assign it to someone else. At this point, we're requesting that it is assigned to the property owner, again, since he is receiving the benefits from this. And the stipulations on this are that he puts in another restaurant in this space. So we're still seeing the benefit to the town of another restaurant. He has signed a lease as of last month with a company called Hugo's Catering. Hugo is an established business that is running out of West Palm Beach currently. He's expanding. He will be immediately running his catering business out of the back kitchen, and he will be establishing a restaurant, a grab-and-go kind of, I would say, Chipotle/Bole-esque, a type of grab-and-go restaurant in the front space. There are 2 spaces in the corner of 796, so he'll be using it both for his catering operations and for a restaurant.
And there will be a seating area.
There will be a seating area, yes.
Approximately how many seats, roughly?
I don't know how many.
I mean,
It's about, how many square foot? Yeah, we don't have his plans quite yet.
I put, the reason why I put this particular tenant in, he's established, and he's got a tremendous catering business, which is going to do well with the entire plaza because we have the brewery, and they need food. So it's going to work out great. Secondly, the front space, which is the corner store, I told him that needs to be a restaurant. But being that it's not so big, we can't put too many tables on the inside. That's where the deck comes in. I have that tremendous deck going out front. So they're going to have a lot of outdoor seating.
Okay. And for the record, let me know that Commissioner Taylor is in the building and is presently here for the meeting.
Thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely. Anything else? Any questions? Vice Mayor? Nobody else is raising their, Vice Chair, I should say.
No questions.
No questions?
I just want to make sure,
Board member? Go ahead.
Chair, so this will be a sit-down restaurant and a catering service?
Yeah, there'll be, he has a tremendous catering business. So he's going to use the kitchen to do both, to make the food for the restaurant area in the front and also for his catering.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. You
Yeah.
say Hugo's?
Hugo's Catering.
Let me ask a question. Why not put the burden on the new tenant? Just out of curiosity.
This grant was
And
established.
again, I don't mean burden as in a
No,
problem.
no,
but
I
you know what mean.
understand.
Okay.
This grant was established prior to my arrival. To me personally, if a grant is benefiting a property owner, they're the ultimate beneficiary of this because it increases the property value. So I did not explore looking at the business. Now, the business will likely be applying for a grant potentially for a hood system because we do have an outstanding grant that Brooklyn Cupcake did not use for the hood system. It'll have to be a new one because it's not that program, right? It's not the same programs we have in place. But I did not consider putting the burden of a new business for somebody else's grant.
Okay. Sir?
For me to try to find a tenant that's going to take on a burden is right in the door would be really difficult. I worked this out so that there was really no lag time, which it's pretty difficult to do, getting a restaurant into the town right away. They signed the lease, and they need to do a build-out still, and they plan on occupying the space in February and having the kitchen running. The front space is going to take him a little longer because he has to design the restaurant area, and he has to do a build-out there as well. So it's going to probably take him around 5-6 months to do that.
And the term of the lease that they just signed is
5 years,
5 years. Okay.
yeah.
Board member Thomas? Board member Hensley?
One more question. I don't know if this is going to tie in with the CRA or the commission, but how would that affect our food truck ordinance there for the business next door?
Oh, as far as the distance with the brick and mortar? Somebody's coming down to answer that
Somebody's
question.
Not you, I know, I was a hand or something.
Nadia, are you still here? Oh, okay.
Good evening, Nadia DiTomaso, Community Development Director. The department currently does not have an application for Hugo's Catering, so we don't have any details on their business.
But it sounds like the business will actually be in the actual bay. They won't have anything as far as related to outdoor.
In terms of the distance separation for the items that they will be serving, if they are similar items to possibly a food truck that's nearby, that's something we would have to investigate once we have the application from Hugo's Catering,
Okay.
as it relates to a food truck who wants to come in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right, the brick and mortar would take precedent over
Correct.
a food truck.
Correct.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Board member, did you have more questions?
No,
Board member
I'm
Hensley?
good. I was just looking up stuff.
Oh, okay, no problem. I just want to make sure I didn't want to cut you off. Board member Taylor? No? One more time.
Good.
You're good? Okay. Sounds like we're all good. There are no other questions. I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 109-12-2024.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing, hearing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Resolution passes. Next, we have Resolution 110-1224, approving an amendment to the grant agreement with Liberty Square LLC for the property located at 796 10th Street, Ms. Allison.
Yes, good evening again. This is for the facade improvements on 796 10th Street. This is a grant that was issued to Carlo and Liberty Square LLC. This is a reimbursable grant, so it's a facade improvement that will be completely paid once the facade is finished. It did have a deadline of December 31st. Carlo is asking to extend that, and I'll have him kind of explain where they are with the project and tell you, a little bit about the timeline.
All right, Mr. Carlo.
I plan on having this done if there's no more issues, because as you know, with constructions, there's always issues, in the next 6 months. I plan on having it done before 6 months, but I'm asking for 6 months, and hopefully I can get it done sooner. We had a lot of issues arise because it is an old building, and once we started taking things apart, we found things that we had to modify and change. So new plans were drawn, they had to be approved, so a lot of time was spent not on the construction end of it, but now we're full steam ahead. We don't see any other issues. I'm thinking that you're going to see if you pass by, you'll see the facade is going to be going up by the end of January. That'll all be done, the height.
Okay.
And then we're going to be working on the stucco part of it, and the painting, and the deck.
Okay. Okay. Any questions for Board Member Thomas?
I do have one. Well, I haven't really actually been to the site in probably about a couple of months. But I was thinking that where Brooklyn Cupcakes were, when the construction started, it really took away from the entrance, ingress and egress of the building. And I don't know if it was anticipated to have that intense construction in front of that site. And so I was wondering that now that you have a new lease that's signed with a new business owner, how is that going to impact, and are you finished with that area? Because I know I went there myself and was made aware, of course, when I went there, but Brooklyn wasn't there at the time. But I would say that as a layperson going in, it was pretty dangerous. The footers were open where they hadn't poured or they were going to expand, and it was a lot more intense of the construction there. Maybe it has changed since, then, but I'm just thinking that if a new business is going to go in and an existing business was there and there were some conflicts there, I just want to know, where are you with the renovation?
The fenced-in area is what you're talking about on the corners.
No, I'm talking about the actual building facade and the footers that were being, I think, poured in order to expand the front.
Yeah, there's fences around it. That's what's blocking the entranceway
It's
to that
now.
corner.
I think you probably put the fencing now. It wasn't there before.
Well, when we dug it out, we had to have a fence there.
Okay.
They put the fence. I made sure of it. They have to put a fence there because if anybody falls in it, it's on me.
Okay.
So the way I scheduled the lease is that he's got build-out time until February when he wants to move in. By then, the fences will be down.
And the construction in that area would be finished?
Well, the fences will be down, and there'll be egress into the space, but he only needs egress into the rear space until he gets the restaurant done anyway, which is in the front space, on that corner where the fences are.
Mm-hmm. So when is the anticipated time when the fences will be down and the actual work is completed there?
I'd be lying if I
Yeah.
you know what it is? It's up to the contractor and the subs. And as much as I push it, and as much as they tell me it's going to get done, they always fall behind by a week or 2 or 3 weeks. And in this case, it was supposed to be done by the end of the year, and we're not. So I'm anticipating the fences being down in the next 2 months because they're full steam ahead right now. They cleaned up all the garbage. They're starting to backfill the holes. And once they're ready to pour the concrete, the fences will come down. That's why the fences are up. It's for safety. And I have no tenants on either corner of the building right now because of that. So I want them down quick as quick as I can because I'm losing money,
Okay,
you know?
thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions? No? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to pass Resolution 110-1224.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing, hearing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Resolution passes. CRA Administrator, do you have any comments for us?
I do. I have a few comments. Thank you very much. Just in some business updates for the CRA, as we mentioned, Hugo's Catering signed a lease at 796 10th Street, and will be occupying the space where Brooklyn Cupcake was with the catering operation and then the restaurant in the front space. Hugo, he also provided the bar at the holiday event on last minute. He's a caterer. He's a professional caterer. He does this for a living, so he's very, very adept at doing these things. I believe he'll be a good relationship to have with the town. And if you go to his website, you'll see he's already, established and runs a successful business. So, 801 Park Avenue. I may have mentioned this last time. We're still working on, finalizing BTRs for 2 new leases, a construction showroom as well as a salon. I know that there was some issues with the final CO, and they're in the process of getting their BTR. So we'll have some ribbon cuttings there once they've finalized all their paperwork and are ready to go.
What's the name of that salon again?
I want to say Reflection.
I
Don't quote me. Don't quote
That's
me.
okay.
The other is 850 Park Avenue, where Creole Social was, a restaurant called Pearl of the Island. You'll see that the signage has changed. They are finalizing their BTR as we speak. They would like to have, and I think that you all got an email, they'd like to have a grand opening kind of weekend event that they'll have their own events going on from January 3rd to 5th, and would like to have a ribbon cutting on January 4th. We'll coordinate with your schedules to see if that time is available for you all. I wanted to give you all a little bit of I've given a marketing plan update kind of every time that we have a CRA meeting. I have Sharon McCormick here, so you might all know her as she is our marketing consultant. She's been here a few times. We'd originally planned to present the marketing plan this evening, but with the new town manager starting the 1st of January, I think it's important that he is available and sees the marketing plan presentation for the CRA. So she'll be back in January to give that presentation. But I did want to show you, you all have a couple of cameos, you're famous, some of the video that was shot on December 6th at the holiday event. We had some really good feedback from the businesses and the holiday bouquets. So, we had a local videographer doing some videos, and we'll just show you kind of it's still being edited, but his first version was pretty good. So we're going to show you the first version here.
That looks wonderful.
Christmas lights, festivities, the tree lighting, Santa. And then we found out they're doing flowers at each one of the cool little local shops here, so we stopped by and grabbed flowers at each one of them.
The Lake Park Community Redevelopment Agency has sponsored the lighting along Park Avenue. Our residents can stroll and see the lights, and so you go to each of the vendors and get a flower, and then at the end you have a nice holiday bouquet. So a special touch that our CRA manager, she came up with for this year.
It was a great event to get families to come out, and I love the idea of the flowers. So everyone was coming to all the different booths. The lights are beautiful and encouraging the families to do things with their children.
It's an innovative idea. It gets people moving, going into businesses, getting to know businesses that they may not know, doing something that's fun, as well as getting to know our CRA as a whole.
This is so cool. Can we get a card?
The $20 coupon too.
Ooh!
I'm looking at the map, walking and going to stations, seeing the new businesses that are coming in.
My favorite part about tonight is collecting these flowers and the music with the kids.
It was so much fun. We got customers coming in and people who never have been in the shop before.
Business has been here almost 9 years, And I've seen a huge increase over the last 4 or 5, and I'm excited to see what the next 4 or 5 are going to bring.
I just spoke to a new resident today who moved in from North Palm, actually. They came from an apartment and bought a house. We're seeing a lot of growth here.
Our business is moving into the CRA district because of all the new and exciting things that are happening.
All that is going on right now, it is a positive. I must commend the CRA on the great job that they have been doing, and I know that they will continue to do it, because the more that they improve, help us to improve on the businesses in the community, then the community will actually rise.
They have a lot of building going on with residences and a lot of new families coming in. I think it'll be great for our business as well as Lake Park. The CRA is very easy to work with.
I'm excited to work with the CRA and help improve the beauty of the town and the infrastructure of the buildings as well.
The CRA sponsored our grand opening and gave us appetizers for our families and our employees coming out.
Now that other things are starting to happen, I think people are discovering what Lake Park is.
I think they're doing a wonderful job, and tonight is great proof.
I have seen the change, and it's so beautiful. I love it. My favorite part about Lake Park is the beauty of Park Avenue.
I love to be able to walk and stroll and go to any restaurant that I want.
It's so like cute, quaint.
It's a little hidden gem.
Yeah. I would love to see more restaurants come to Lake Park.
It'd be cool to go like bar hopping down here.
I would like to have more music venues.
Daytime businesses would be awesome. To draw people here during the day, I think would be a huge plus for Lake Park.
Have you heard the new catchphrase for Lake Park?
What's that?
Turn on Park.
Well, let's turn on Park. I think we've done so already, and we need more people to keep it turned on.
Turn on Park. Ooh. Okay, I like it because Park Avenue, I think it's good.
Turn on Park, okay? To go down Park Avenue.
Because it's a hidden gem.
As you're running your errands, turn down Park Avenue, see what Lake Park has to offer.
Turn on Park, come to Attic Fanatics Vintage.
Turn on Park.
Turn on Park.
Turn on Park.
Oh my goodness.
I told you were famous.
I do not know that guy. I just know he can be funny. No, that was wonderful.
Thank you. That's all I have.
It speaks to the vision. It speaks to where we want to go. It speaks to how many people want to be a part of it, and it speaks to where we can be, and it's not far by any means. So, anything else?
That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. That was a nice little surprise you gave us there. Executive Director, you have anything?
I have done for this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Any board member comments? Board Member Taylor.
I just wanted to commend everybody involved in that because it was great. It was on my flowers. They're getting a little smelly, but I'm still on my table. I change the water every day. They were just beautiful. I've heard just nothing but good things about that. It's the best ever. Thank you. And Jamie, the landscaping looks so much better with that nice mulch. It added to everything. It looks so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments?
Let me see. No.
No?
Not at this time.
Vice Chair?
I received a lot of positive comments about the event. They really loved having the local kids come and sing and perform. So to keep it, homegrown, but the flowers was an excellent touch that everyone loved.
All right. Board Member Thomas?
Ditto to what Vice Mayor stated. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to be there, but the comments that I heard and what I've seen have just been spectacular. And so I just want to say, turn on Park.
Board Member Hensley?
I think they sum it up, but as they say, turn on Park, great job.
Yeah. Board Member
I
Taylor?
think that would be our new logo,
That
Well,
could be.
And yeah, I think it will be on both ends of Park Avenue. That park at Kelsey, think what that would look like if those palm trees were lit up like the ones in front of Town Hall, and people would turn on Park at that end also. Don't stop at one end.
By the way, Turn on Park came from one of our business owners at one of our business owner meetings. And when they said it, it kind of just
It
clicked with
clicked right
everyone,
there.
and everybody went, that's what we should use.
No, that's a catchy phrase, and if we can encourage the businesses to keep pushing it, and we will ourselves, it will stick. It will stick. The business that we were trying to figure out is Refined Reflection. Is the barbershop, and I actually went to them on Friday and was very impressed with what I saw. Got a haircut from them even also. Yeah. Well, okay. I guess my haircut wasn't quite light.
She's also had a successful business in West Palm Beach and relocated. So your hair looks great.
Thank you. If they're listening, Refined Reflection, I'm still representing you. I also attended with Commissioner Taylor. Sanders and Sanders Tutoring, I think they're going to be an excellent addition to our town. We have lots of new families as well as families that are here with young children. And if they're ever in need of tutoring, that's another good place that we have. We're getting so many unique businesses that are wanting to come here. It's dumbfounded to see the attention we're getting at this point. I mean, I am sorry to hear that we did lose the Mexican place, that they're no longer, but yeah, Tension. But those things happen in business, and also with Brooklyn Cupcake leaving, I'm very upset about that. But hey, if we keep pushing, we'll have them come. It's like throwing stuff on the wall and seeing what sticks. So we keep doing what we're doing. A lot of things are going to stick at the end. So kudos to you as well as the rest of the staff and everybody involved in trying to make the CR great. So good job. Thank you. Any agency member requests? Okay, with that, I will entertain motion of adjournment, and we will move on to the next meeting.
A motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we will transition now to the regular commission meeting. I don't think we need to do much, correct? That's what I figured. So this is the Town of Lake Park, Florida regular commission meeting for Wednesday, December 18, 2024. The time is now 6:57 p.m. We will have the clerk once again take the roll call.
Commissioner Taylor?
Here.
Commissioner Hensley?
Here.
Commissioner Thomas?
Present.
Vice Chair Glass Castro?
Here.
Mayor Mashad?
Here. We will bypass the pledge since we did that in our earlier meeting. Right now, we have a special presentation and report, a P3 quarterly report by Forest Development. Thank you, sir. Gentlemen.
Good to go? Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council Commissioners. My name is Larry Zabit, representing Forest Development, and with me tonight is Peter Batarian, the principal of Forest Development. We're here to give you the quarterly P3 update. We had originally planned to do it in November, but I had to have it postponed, and then you canceled the first meeting in December. But it's actually timely because we've got some good updates that we can share with you today. The summary right now is the hotel, the boat storage, and the marina leases have all been approved. The PUD and the site plan are under current review, and we're on our 4th or 5th iteration with the planning department, and we're continuing to work on that. We did receive the appraisal from the state for what the cost of releasement of the reverter is going to be. The state has come back and said they don't want to release the reverter, they want to amend the uses allowed under the reverter, and that cost is $600,000. We're going to move forward with that, and we'll do the notifications later this month or after the first of the year. We learned earlier this week the governor and cabinet meetings where this gets approved are now scheduled, and we will make the March 25th schedule, is our game plan. We'll work closely with Tom Baird and his team. Tom has been a big help as we've worked through this, and I think we'll continue to do that. We skipped this month's joint planning session because we're waiting for the new town manager to come in, and we're going to do that meeting in mid-January, and we'll bring Mr. Reed up to speed. Just as a summary, all of our leases have been executed. We now know what the requirements are for the deed restriction, and we will move forward with the governor and cabinet. The discussions that we have been having with the governor's staff, we expect to get a recommendation for approval. There are a couple of minor conditions we're going to work on with them where they want us to adjust some of the things in the marina, and we're going to see if we can work through that. But none of those are issues that are of substance, and we'll be able to get to the governor and cabinet for the March 25th meeting. We did submit the original PUD and master plan in December of last year, and we're working on a resubmittal based upon the comments that we've received. As far as our critical path goes, the site plan for the hotel and boat storage was submitted in May, and it included the architectural elevations and floor plans, and this presentation starts to reflect some of the graphics of those. We will respond to the comments and work with Nadia and her team after the first of the year. We're also in negotiations with a Marriott hotel representative, and we're looking at a premier product, an autograph or tribute level hotel for the marina. This is an update to the rendering that we're working on, and this will be part of the package we'll resubmit to planning and zoning after the first of the year. The public marina and restaurant components were also submitted in May. We have applied for the first DEP permit, and we've done one iteration of comments with DEP and the Corps of Engineers. DEP sent out their folks to look at the seagrass situation, and fortunately, we were glad to find that there was very limited amounts of seagrass in the marina, and that's going to help us in our plans for expansion, and we think that that process is going to go pretty smoothly for the approval of the boat storage and the reconfiguration of the marina. We have some new renderings for the restaurant. Do we have a name for this, Peter?
Right now, we don't have a name. We've been calling it the Point Restaurant, but when we finalize an agreement with the operator, then we'll finalize the name. But as of now, we call it the Point Restaurant. Yep.
And these are some more views.
That rendering similar to the building on West Palm, off of Flagler there. I think Elizabeth's is in that building.
That's correct. It's the same architect, Spino O'Rourke.
Okay.
So our plan is to provide the first quarterly update in April of next year. After we come back from the governor and cabinet, we'll have full updates on everything. And with that, I'd like to open it up to questions, Mayor, for you and the commissioners.
Okay. We open up for questions. Anybody have any questions? Commissioner Taylor?
Could we go back to the rendering that shows the building on US 1? I think it was about the first
I think that's the hotel piece.
So when I go down there, it doesn't look like there's much room to put all those palm trees. Was there adequate room to plant those palm trees on that side facing US 1?
There should be. We're doing the same type of landscaping in front of the Nautilus project, both on US 1 and along Bayberry and Cypress. So I think we will be able to do that, yes.
You think? Because it looks like it's right on the sidewalk, and the sidewalk is right on the street. They still have it covered in front, but without any kind of landscaping at all, it looks pretty rough, pretty sad. And you say you should be able to, don't you know for sure whether you have room to put those trees?
By code, we're going to have to get them in. These were just these are architectural renderings that the.
Yeah, I'm looking at the actual building because I go down there every week and I check on it to see if everything's straight. You know what?
No, we are going to have the landscaping in to comply with the town code.
Yeah, because it looks pretty close. But will there still be a sidewalk?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to watch it.
Thank you.
I'll check that out. Because I don't see how that could be unless you have some kind of mini. It looks like those trees are about a story high. I hope so.
The rendering may show it a
To break all
little-
that up, you know?
The rendering may show it a little closer to the street than it actually will be.
No, the building looks closer to the street than the rendering. When
Are
you
you-
actually look at it from that side, on the other side of US 1.
Are you referring to this building that he's showing for the
one
hotel?
that you will see when you go down there right now.
Oh, you're talking Nautilus.
Nautilus.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking Nautilus.
Oh
the
no,
one
they're
that's already
talking.
built.
This illustration is of the hotel.
Farther down, isn't that Nautilus, the one farther down to the
Yes.
left?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about, when you see all that glass for like the parking. Well, I hope so. I hope so. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, you have anything? And nothing over here on the. Okay. Well. Oh, Commissioner Thomas.
Well, actually, I just wanted to commend the fact that you actually got a date for the governor's meeting of March 2025, because at least I left with the understanding that
Yes.
this wouldn't probably occur until further down in the year, you know?
We were pleasantly surprised
Yes.
with what's happened nationally and statewide and the shuffling of potential positions. We were afraid it might be postponed, but
Yeah.
we received word, I think on Tuesday this week, that
Oh, yeah.
the date was set.
Okay, and so in lieu of selling the property, it's that 600,000 is for usage and an amendment to? I mean, because I thought we were getting the appraisal in order to convey it or for the town to be total ownership of.
I think we had hoped that the appraisal would give us a value to completely remove or release the
Right.
reverters. But I think the Department of Environmental Protection, representing the Florida Internal Improvement Trust, wants to maintain those properties in perpetuity for public purposes. So they're going to modify the language to be consistent with what we proposed.
Are there any issues right now as it relates to the sales office and other, properties that?
We may have to relocate the barge in the marina. That's one of the items we're talking about.
Yeah.
They initially raised issues with regard to the dive operations
Right.
and the Freedom Boat Club.
Yes.
They seem to have dropped those now.
Okay. Okay.
And they were also okay with the relocation of the launch as well.
Yes.
Okay.
If I may, actually
sorry.
for clarification,
Sure.
DEP still has a problem with Freedom Boat Club, and we're working with the marina director, the town attorney on those. The other dive operation has left the marina.
Okay. You all set?
Yeah, I was just trying to hear you. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah.
Commissioner Taylor.
When we're talking about Freedom Boat Club, I'm a little unclear on will that stay. I've had people that are in the Freedom Boat Club, and they're really worried about the continuation of that business and some other businesses too. Did I might be missed? I didn't hear so well what Bambi said. Will it continue?
DEP has expressed a concern about Freedom Boat Club because it's a private boat club. So it may have to go away.
And that's the Department of Environmental
So
Protection.
it will not be able to continue.
That's what we're working through now, yes.
You're working through it. What does that mean? You're going to help it or get rid of it?
Well, we're
Working through it.
We're working with the town attorney.
Actually, let's let Tom.
Let him.
Let Tom.
And we'd like to represent our guest speaker here, Mr. Mayor.
You're going to have to waive the conflict. This is what the department's position on Freedom Boat Club is. It was also there was another vendor out there, Jet Ride. Is Jet Ride gone, Peter? Okay. So the department considers those uses to be clubs, and because they are clubs and not essentially open to all of the public, like the marina will be,
Correct.
The department is going to require that they be removed from, that use be removed from the marina before we get to the governor and cabinet, because they don't want the governor and cabinet to raise that as an issue, and then that will trigger a whole line of discussion that would put the modification of the deed restrictions in jeopardy. Now, I suppose it would be up to the Freedom Boat Club if there's a way they can change their business model such that it could be demonstrated to the department that they're open to the public. Then there's the possibility that club could stay. Same thing for Jet Ride, the other vendor out there, which is similar in terms of membership, as I understand it, to Freedom Boat Club. So we have the next governing cabinet meeting that we would be eligible to attend, assuming we could work out all of the issues that we have to work out, would be in March. We think we have sufficient time to work with Freedom Boat Club, find out what they want to do, what they can do. We also have 17 separate boat slip leases with them. So those leases are all subject to termination, and we haven't really worked through that because the department has basically just communicated to us in the last month this issue as something that needs to be resolved.
Thank you. I will recommend that people, instead of asking me, they watch the meeting tonight, and that's a better explanation than I could give them, I'm sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Vice Mayor? Okay, we're good here. Well, gentlemen, I thank you for that report. Seems like you got a lot of headway. I agree with Commissioner Thomas. The fact that you got the meeting in March, that's a big plus as far as the movement of this project as a whole. So thank you to all of you that are making this happen and being a part of this, and we look forward to more progress.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have public comment. I have one public comment card that's for an actual agenda item, so we will hold off on that. However, I have 6 public comment cards from the same person. That would be Mr. Sullivan. Now, Mr. Sullivan, we're going to try to minimize all these public comment cards into one session. I will try to see if I can extend the time a little bit beyond the 3 minutes if we've missed the point. But if you can for me, I'd like to get all these all in one shot. So I will ask you to come up.
The first item is there's a lot of scooters and stuff running around here and motorized bikes at night without lights. And cars that are not turning their lights on at dusk time. This should be stopped. And some cities have tried it, but not successfully, because they put time of day or something. We should make that dependent on when the street light comes on, because the street light comes on depending on the darkness, at least of all the ones around the town here. Okay. Then the second item is sign. There needs to be a sign at the northwest corner of Park Avenue and 10th Street, because a lot of people there, when the light turns red and cars are coming up Park Avenue or coming from south on 10th Street, people are trying to turn there, and they're forgetting the state law specifically says that they can only turn on a red light when it's nobody else coming. And this is being completely ignored. So we need to have a sign posted right there telling them that they can only go when it's safe to go and not just go stop and go without looking. Third item. The town needs to set up a skeet range for all the people here, because we had people come here and create a big disturbance for certain things, other things, pickleball and stuff and everything. And this is more needed than pickleball because there isn't any in the nearby towns where pickleball, there's a lot of courts around. Okay. I want to bring up a health hazard that's very critical. A long time ago, a lady that lived across from where the Nautilus is now was complaining to me about people were going in the alley back of the stores there and throwing needles over into her yard. And I think Mary knows something about that. But I read something where some of these guys were taking and going to public restrooms and putting their needles into the towels there to clean them. And this shouldn't be permitted. I recommend that anybody caught doing this should be fined $250. Okay. Street parking problem. You go down some of the streets here and everything that are narrow. I'm not talking about wide ones. And people parking on both sides of the street, and it's a game getting around them. And we should do something to make it, for 1 year, everybody parks on one side, and the next year, everybody parks on the other side, so giving equal time to those wanting to park. Because if you try and do it by day or something, it don't work. And the last thing I'm going to bring up is I've seen people taking their trash and putting it in other people's trash piles and stuff. In fact, trucks coming by and dumping it, and where they came from, I know not. Any questions?
No, this is public comment. There won't be any questions to those. We're just here to listen to your comments, and we thank you for giving us those comments, as
Okay.
well as letting us know some things that we may look to address. And I know the staff is here. They hear everything you're saying, and they'll look into those matters.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have, again, we have 2 other public comment cards, but those are for a specific agenda item. Next, we have the consent agenda. I believe, Commissioner Hensley, you had some items you wanted pulled. Is that correct?
Lost it. 6, 7, 8. Just 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Okay, so 6, 7, and 8 will be pulled out of consent. I will need a motion to approve all the remaining items on consent.
I'll make a motion to approve all consent items besides 6, 7, and 8.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing, hearing none. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, so 6, 7, and 8 are pulled out of consent. We will go ahead and go to number 6, Resolution 114-1224, authorizing Director Mayor to execute an easement agreement with the Seacoast Utility Authority, granting an easement for the water main along Railroad Avenue for use by Clean Sweep. Commissioner Hensley.
All right. Mr. Mayor, I would just like a brief discussion, not discussion, but
More like an explanation.
explanation about 6, 7, and 8, please.
Okay. Nadia?
Go ahead.
You are.
Good evening.
Town manager, if you have any comments as well.
Nadia DiTomaso, Community Development Director. I'm looking into the audience because I know Seacoast said they would be here. I don't see them, so here we go. This is a request by Seacoast for the Clean Sweep project. They do need to install a water main for that project. In order to do so, they need an easement in the area that they've marked up in the image that they provided in the backup documentation. So this request is coming from them for the easement that they need for the water main.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other, Commissioner Thomas.
Yeah, because I also had like a question on this where I had asked that do you have the aerial with you that you can project it here?
I do, yes.
Okay.
Would you like me to project the aerial image that's in the agenda item or the
no,
other?
No, the larger one.
The
I
other
think
one,
that,
yes.
yeah.
At the request of Commissioner Thomas, this aerial image was put together not too long ago to show the general area of the easement as it relates to the properties further west.
Now, when you say clean sweep, that's just not one business. Are you referring to, you're talking about the street sweeper? What are you referring to?
That is the property that's being redeveloped at 810 Water Tower Road.
Which is the corner parcel?
Yes, which is just to the north of the northernmost point of that yellow line.
Mm-hmm. So the water line is just for that parcel?
Yes.
Okay. Was that one of the parcels that we're also addressing in regards to septic to sewer? Is that one of those parcels too that are in that area?
No, they are putting in their own infrastructure as part of the development for that parcel.
Okay. So the water main is to upgrade what is existing there?
It is a new construction site, so they are required to put a new water main per the Seacoast requirements.
Okay. Okay, so that is at the rear. I'm trying to like picture it. That's why I had asked for a larger aerial of that. Okay, so
Can you zoom in a little bit in that little general area there?
this is 10th, so 10th is perpendicular, parallel to that. Let's see here, so that's on the west side. West side. Is that in that same area where we have brown solid disposal? Is that where that is too? Where we have, no, they're on
Brown
the,
solid disposal.
no, they're not on that side. Where?
Is that better for you? Right there?
Oh, yes, thank you.
So right along the tracks there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is in that plaza? No, it's not in the plaza. Okay,
Behind the auto repair.
Correct.
that's on the corner of, okay,
Yes.
because that's what, okay, so it's for that parcel.
Just to the north. I don't have a pointer, but.
Yeah, and to the north of that, but isn't that where the new disposal business is? No?
And, yes,
Correct.
that is clean sweep.
Correct.
Right?
Yes,
Oh, that is clean sweep.
that is clean sweep.
Okay, you know, I
Oh, yeah.
want to make a comment in regards to this. A couple years ago, when they came to the town, and we had talked about the fact that Water Tower doesn't go all the way east, and that road, since they were going to be a user, maybe they could chip in to improve the road. And the property owners stated that they would not at all be using that road. I want you to know they are all the time
Okay.
using that road.
Okay.
Okay? They go over Dixie and go straight down that road. Now, and that's heavy equipment that's going down that road, which I knew was going to happen. So maybe there ought to be some form of discussion about that, because at this point in time, every time that I see it, they are the heaviest user of that road that's unimproved. And I don't know, but that might be a discussion that we may have to, it's not in our CRA either, but that might be a discussion that we may want to have, because the road is definitely going to need to be improved.
Okay.
And it's not going to get better if we have trucks that are going down that road. Okay?
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, because the agreement was that they were going to be using that side road, you know, the railroad road.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. I know exactly now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other questions?
No questions.
No questions on this side? All right, then I will entertain a motion on this one.
I make a motion to approve consent item 6.
Okay, and that's resolution 114-1224.
Where you at?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other further discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution passes. Next, we have Resolution 115-1224, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a grant agreement amendment between the State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection and the Town of Lake Park for a performance period extension for the vulnerability assessment update. Commissioner Hensley.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to make sure that this is just an assessment of the sea level, right? Sea water level?
All right, Mr. Jamie, you are up, sir.
Good afternoon, good evening, Commissioners Jamie Morales in representation of Public Works. So this study has already been performed. The only thing that when we submitted the study, they had changed the new values that we had to do the test upon. So then we have to ask our engineers to redo the test again. So they have to do a remodeling of the vulnerability test, which we've already completed almost 3 parts of the test, and we were submitting. So we're just asking for this extension. They're aware, and they don't have any issues because we did submit the documentation. The only thing that they had updated the new NADA, I think is NAD, NADA form, so they wanted us to do the recalculation. So that's pretty much why we're asking the extension.
Okay.
And after that, we still have, the next one will be in 5 years, or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, afterwards.
All right.
No other questions?
Okay, any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to pass Resolution 115-12-24.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing, hearing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, resolution passes. Next, we have Resolution 116-1224, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an agreement with the State of Florida Division of Emergency Management for grant funds associated with Hurricane Milton. Commissioner Hensley.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You want to present?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
me? No,
want to-
you or me? But that one I didn't present, but
I think this is Jeff's item, finance.
oh, finance, yeah.
All right, we need somebody.
Jeff DeSilva, Director of Finance. This resolution is to, in essence, sign on so we can receive reimbursement funds for Hurricane Milton. There are a bunch of stipulations associated with it and certain reporting requirements in order to get the funds. So we have to sign on with them.
No questions.
Okay. Commissioner Thomas.
Because I did have some questions on this. When I looked through it, there weren't any itemized costs. So is this a preparation for submittals that are going to be coming ahead? Is this what we do in order to try and claim for any damages that we had? Because I looked through it and I was like, what's the resolution for? What is it that we're claiming? I didn't realize that we had some,
We are
some
putting the costs
damage.
together now.
Okay.
The invoices and associated schedules have been sent into Carter Hamill, who is our consultant. So they're assembling all the information based upon allowable, non-allowable costs, and then they'll come up with a number.
Okay, then you'll come back to us to let us know what those itemized costs are?
Yes, we'll do
Okay.
that.
Okay, because they can be like either reimbursable. Do we have to pay ahead and then we get reimbursed for that, or how's that work?
We've already paid for some of it, like through payroll. We've paid for the labor costs that, worked out of maintenance department for cleanup of the debris.
Okay, so that will be included in this when we
Yes,
do the,
they'll-
okay.
they'll be
Because that's what I
reimbursing us.
was looking for. I didn't see anything as far as itemizations for Milton.
No, we don't have a number yet for
Okay.
that, so.
Yeah. If I may, just to elaborate on that, we also incurred expenses for forced labor, for debris pickup, personnel spent time preparing for the hurricane. Those are all costs that we can submit to FEMA.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions?
One more question.
Vice Mayor.
The agreement mentions FROC. Since summer, I guess during budget, have we now filed to participate in FROC?
I'm going to have to get back to you to find out. I'll get that for you.
If you send it to the answer through email, make sure you give us all that answer. If
It
you
was,
can.
yeah. I don't have an answer for you on that one. I'm sorry.
All right.
Are there restrictions on that, Vice Mayor, as far as?
Just timing. We had to apply by a certain time period.
Okay.
Are we still within that?
No, not for 2025.
So this would have to be covered under another?
Well, just, it allows us to get money up front without having to do it on a reimbursement basis.
I see, okay. Thank you.
And if I may, our intent was to, because we've already expended the monies that we would for that particular day, it was all based on a reimbursement scale, basically. So.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 116-12-12-24.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing, hearing none. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Resolution passes. That's all the items from consent that we addressed. I have nothing on the quasi-judicial public hearing. I have nothing on ordinance on first reading. However, we have on ordinance on second reading, our favorite.
This is exactly why I returned, Mayor.
All right. There we,
Don't wanna
and
miss
let it be
it.
known that Mr. Tom Bears, our town attorney, is present, and he has taken over the role left by Brett. Ordinance 13, 2024, creating a new section 30-6 pertaining to the operation of micromobility devices, golf carts, low-speed vehicles, and motorized scooters. Town manager.
And our planner will present this item.
Anders, how are you?
Hey, good evening, Commissioners. Happy holidays. I'm Anders Vian, Town Planner. So this ordinance is your micromobility ordinance on second reading. We've made some updates since first reading, and these include the addition of the prohibited streets, which include North Lake, Federal Highway, 10th Street, Prosperity, Old Dixie Highway, Silver Beach Road, North Congress Avenue, and Water Tower. We also added in, we made the license, registration, and insurance requirements specific to low-speed vehicles only. I also have an update regarding the question Commissioner Thomas had on the signage. There would need to be posted signage, so following the adoption of this ordinance, we'll have to coordinate with Public Works to install signage that would indicate that these devices, specifically the golf carts, are allowed to operate on your residential streets. And then the last update I had, I know Commissioner Hensley had some questions regarding like e-bike safety. PBSO provided some informational flyers on e-bikes, which were included in the packet. So I'll now turn it over for any questions.
I'm gonna, if you don't mind, can I ask a couple questions? Okay. You stated that license requirements are only for low-speed vehicle only.
Yes.
But the state law addresses both golf carts and low-speed vehicles, at least to be, I believe, 16 years of age to operate.
Right. None of that has changed.
Okay, this seems a little contradictory if you're saying that it sounds contradictory to me. It's saying, right, stating that it's only for low-speed vehicles only that license requirements are and not golf carts, but the state law addresses both. On the, and I mean driver's license.
Right. I think for the golf carts, it's stated that if you have a learner's permit, you can operate the golf cart. However, if you are operating the low-speed vehicle, you need the license, registration, and insurance requirements.
You're talking about to drive it or to insure it?
To drive it, not to insure it.
It's the same that you have.
Go ahead, Commissioner Thomas.
As I read it, it's the same that you have to have a permit or be permitted in order to drive. So, and I that was a question that I had raised earlier. And that was, is that they provide you with your permit at 16. So you had to be permitted to drive at 16. And I think that's what the statute says. So whether it's a golf cart or something else, it stated that in order to drive a golf cart or a low-speed vehicle, you had to be a permit driver or a licensed driver. And the earliest that you can become that is at 16. That is how I understood the statute to read.
Yes.
So if it's something different, but that's how I understood it as being.
That's my understanding also.
Okay, so then,
If you ate, you can't drive it.
no, I understand that. I just want to say the way you said it, it's a little misleading to
Well,
me, at least.
maybe I should clarify. The section that I'm reading from is B5, and the sentence that was modified is license, registration, and insurance requirements for low-speed vehicles must be in accordance with state law. Under the next subsection C,
Okay, well, you can, actually now looking at that first part, golf carts and low-speed vehicles may only be operated by individuals in accordance with state law. That kind of corrects my thought there. So that takes care of that with the license. The other question I have, staying on subsection B, number 1, where it says golf carts may be operated on the town's multimodal pathways as established by the October 26, 2023 revision of the 2045 Lake Park Mobility Plan, where posted signage allows at speeds not exceeding 15 miles per hour. Okay, so I thought it was 20.
well, that's for the streets. So basically, if you want to have them operate on those multimodal paths or sidewalks that are 8 feet wide, then they're
Okay,
restricted to.
just those only. Okay.
Yes.
No problem. Okay, that takes care of me. Any other questions?
Do we have any 8-foot wide sidewalks?
Lakeshore, I believe.
I think Lakeshore Drive is the only one, right? Yep.
Oh, and Summer Park Avenue in the CRA, I believe, on the north end.
Mhm. I'm not exactly sure of the sidewalk widths.
I think Lakeshore Drive is probably the largest one that we have, the widest, not the largest, but the widest.
Correct.
That should probably be about 8 feet. So on that, you could drive your golf cart.
Assuming you designated it, yes.
Yeah.
Basically, the way it's written now is it's just sort of an option. So in the future, if you want to designate that or any of the multimodal paths you build out through the mobility plan, then you can do so.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Anything on my left?
You got low speed
All right. I will entertain a motion. You guys are funny. And we have a cough.
Let's see here, that was,
Ordinance 113, 2024.
okay, I make a motion to approve ordinance
13, 2024.
2024.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing, hearing none, those in favor?
What did you say, further discussion?
Yes. Do you have something you'd like to add or comment on?
About this?
Yes.
Really quickly, yes. I can see that golf carts are playing a big part in town anymore. And I do have a suggestion about next year. That I'm bringing it up now because, so it won't be too late to consider it. It's just for consideration. Instead of the fire truck Santa ride, I'd like to see a golf cart parade where you'd have a decorating contest for the golf carts. I think it would promote more participation in town. Everybody likes the other decorating contest. So I'm hoping that might be considered. I didn't go because when you're on that fire truck, you get a lot of exhaust, and from the idling patrol cars and everything, I can't do it anymore. So I just think it would just be maybe something different. I won't say an improvement because you always do things fine when you're needy, but I'm just saying it might be an alternative, and I'm bringing it up now so that we can't say it's too late later. And
How you doing, Rita? You good?
yeah, it's always good. Thank you. That's all.
All right. You took the words right out of my thoughts. Commissioner
I'm just
Hensley.
going to say I agree with Commissioner Taylor. I really do.
I had hoped
and
it
hope,
would be this year.
hoping Santa's nice to me.
Hope that Santa's nice to you, right? Maybe with 4 wheels and a covering. Any other comments here? No? With that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ordinance passes.
It passes.
Ordinance 13, 2024, an ordinance of the Town Commission of the Town of Lake Park, Florida, amending Chapter 30, Article 1 to create a new Section 30-6 pertaining to the operation of micro-mobility devices, golf carts, low-speed vehicles, and motorized scooters, providing for the amendment of Chapter 30, Article 2, Section 30-35 pertaining to high-capacity passenger or work vans, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for the repeal of all laws in conflict, and providing for an effective date.
All righty, thank you for that.
They're sitting here. Do we want to move that up?
Okay, so you want to make a...
I'd
Yeah,
like to suggest that we move item 18 up because we have representatives from the county in the audience.
Okay, so we can...
Reorder the agenda.
All right, do we have a second with that?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're moving item number 18 up to the top of new business. And everything else shifts down, okay? But right now we have, under old business, we have item number 11, a presentation pertaining to the Burt Bostrom Stormwater Project, and more specific to the excess fill. Town Manager.
Our Public Works Director will present this item.
You got excited about the golf carts, didn't you? That's what happened.
Don't choke. Don't choke. No, he was choking. He was eating something. Can't you see it? Looks like a little hamster.
Her mic's not on, right? Or her mic's on.
Okay. Good evening, Commissioners. Again, Jamie Morales from Public Works. This is just to come back in regards to the conversation we had to the excess field that we were going to obtain from the stormwater project at Burt Bostrom Park. So we work with the team, and we have identified areas within 12th Street that we can accommodate from 7,000 to 7,500 cubic yards from those 9 that we expect to have on the project. So that will give us a roughly balance of 2 to 150, 1,500 cubic yards to store at the park for any future projects that we will have at Burt Bostrom Park. That will elevate the soil difference between the current platform or layout and the field that we're going to place there, approximately 6 inches. So it shouldn't represent a hazard.
Great.
And as we cover everything back with the soil and the grass that we're going to place, a special grass for the field, it's going to be an open field, so it's going to be accessible for everybody to use.
That's a nice grade.
Okay.
Commissioner Thomas.
I did want to ask, though, because that is item 11. Okay, yeah, because I did want to ask, the excess fill that's going to our yard over there off of 12th. Now, I did look, and I noticed that down to the bottom, there's an anticipated cost for additional fencing.
Okay, so
Right.
no, the additional cost for the fencing is if we would utilize the suggested area that was on 10th Street behind the fire station, that we would have to utilize for safety purposes and incur on securing that and fencing that area for nobody to go in and recoup. But right now, no, as we place it on 12th Street, we don't need any fence because it's already fenced out.
Okay, because, you know, the note doesn't necessarily clarify that, and I just want to make sure that when I say aye to this, that I'm not saying aye to 30,000.
No. Because it's specified, if you look at that slide, specific slide, it's talking about the suggested alternative area,
right,
which it depicts the area at 10th Street. So every information, the pros and cons, is just for the suggested area.
Because, you know, it doesn't even say 10th Street, but so I'm just going to think that it is 10th Street.
Oh, okay. I apologize for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I
And
just
it's
want to
not
make
even,
sure.
it doesn't even look
Exactly.
completely, yeah.
So for me, that's why I always like to see a larger aerial of it, so I'll know exactly where I'm at. But this is specifically for 10th Street, the
Yes.
pros and cons and the
Yes,
notes
yes.
that
That's
were
why
on.
we're not suggesting to put anything there because
Okay.
of the pros and cons.
Okay, because when I pass, because I do travel 12th Street every day to come, and I'm like, where's the extra fencing that you're planning on putting? There's fencing there already.
Yes.
Okay, so will the fill cover the entire shaded area that I'm seeing, or are you just showing that this is the area?
Doing that, that's all our area, that's all our
Okay.
property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there was also some concern about how high it would be, and of course, the impact to the surrounding properties, i.e. dust, and whether or not we were going to have to screen it or water it or whatever.
Well, at 12th Street, we would not have to
To
do
do anything?
No, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay,
All set?
I think so.
All right. Did you have anything more? No, I was going to ask if you had any more you wanted to add before. No? Okay. Commissioner Taylor.
I just want to say thank you because we're saving all of the dirt. We're going to use it eventually, and I think it's a wonderful solution. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
I don't have anything more.
Okay. Commissioner Hensley? All right. Thank you for that presentation. We appreciate it.
I think he's looking for a motion to approve.
Let's see.
Hold on. Let me look back at this.
It's a presentation.
Yeah.
Just a presentation.
It's just a presentation, yeah, yes. But if we have directions, if all members are in consent, we have then direction to, once we start doing the removal of the fill, then we know we have a direction to place what we're going to place on Second Street.
Based on what you just presented?
Yes.
So we have a consensus of
Yes.
okay. There you are.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have item number 12, discussion regarding the interlocal agreement with the Town of Palm Beach Shores for the provision of fill material for the Lake Park Harbor Marina. Town Manager.
Yes, at its November 6, 2024 meeting, the commission decided not to move forward at that time with a resolution to approve the interlocal agreement, or ILA, with the Town of Palm Beach Shores for the provision of fill material for the Lake Park Harbor Marina, and instead directed staff to obtain information regarding what the cost would be to move the fill from Peanut Island and whether such costs would be covered under the Florida Inland Navigation District or FIND agreement for the dredging of the navigable channel. On or about November 8, 2024, Public Works Director Jamie Morales sent the attached certified letter, which is in your packet, to Palm Beach Shores Mayor Alan Fires, asking him several questions regarding the proposed ILA, the first of which is whether the FIND grant funds cover additional costs associated with unloading, transporting, and offloading the fill material from Peanut Island to Lake Park. At the writing of this agenda, I know we had not yet received a written response from Mayor Fires, but we received it yesterday afternoon, which I sent to the commission by email today. Mayor Fires verbally and in the letter has confirmed to Mr. Morales that the current grant does not cover the logistics for transporting the fill from Peanut Island to Lake Park or any storage requirements on our end. While the exact cost figures for transporting and storing the fill material are not known, our Public Works Director has provided as part of your packet the following estimate based upon comparative projects such as the Port of Miami dredging project, the Fort Pierce dredge material transport, and the Lake Worth Lagoon restoration. And those cost figures are outlined in your ARF. In view of the above information, the purpose of this agenda item is to obtain direction in the form of a motion by the Town Commission on how to proceed with regards to this proposed interlocal agreement. Just as background, I included another resolution, Resolution 90-1123, with the Town of Lake Park agreed to enter into a partnership with the Town of Palm Beach Shores for the execution of its Lake Worth Inlet Singer Island Channel dredging project, by which the town agreed to provide project management services to Palm Beach Shores for this project, and in return, the town would receive a majority of the dredged material for use in the elevation of its seawall. So staff is looking for direction from the commission as to how you wish to proceed with this project.
Okay. I'm going to open up to my fellow commission members for any questions or any comments, since
I
this
have a-
is more of a directionary? Commissioner Hensley.
Was this item 12?
Item 12, correct.
Yes.
It's not in here. It's not showing here, no.
Yeah.
It was added as an old business item after the agenda was initially published.
It's available on the Dropbox.
Yeah,
I don't know
I'm
if you
in the
have to
Dropbox,
refresh.
but I don't
I'm
see
in
it at all.
Dropbox now, and it's not there.
And I'm even on the website.
It's changed, it update, it's changed, it update, it changed.
We just double-checked when Commissioner Thomas had an issue with it, and we verified that it's up there now on Dropbox, but you can also access it on our website.
Hold on, I'm on here now.
Is-
That's what I'm
If the
using. Let me
Dropbox
just,
is not working properly.
It's not working properly. Because it was there underneath the one that I showed, it's not there underneath this. Yeah, it's kind of like weird.
it's here on the website though. So if you go to the website, I can help you as well.
This website is not user-friendly. View agendas.
Click that yellow.
Yeah, I got it here now on the paper, but not.
I just wanted to say, I noticed, I think, in checking our email, that the response from Palm Beach Shores, I guess, came in on yesterday, but we don't have copies of it for us here on the dais, except.
I brought copies.
Okay.
All right.
And these were, I guess, in response to Mr. Morales's questions to the mayor of Palm Beach Shores.
Correct.
Correct. Which he's stating on the letter that the grants do not include the cost of moving the material from Peanut Island to Lake Park. So that's going to be an area to look into, of course.
Well, I did some rough calculations based on the total amount of cubic yard of fill that we would be using, and we are at 1.7 mil. And that would be if we were,
That's a rough estimate.
that was just using the calculations of whether it was going to be a barge and was going to be transported here, whether it was going to be a barge and truck in order to do it. And so I just sort of like to.
I guess I need that information. I have nothing here to go on, so.
Yeah. It was just
The
in what was
agenda's
there.
not downloading.
Yeah, we're going to need more information on this as to, cost and everything. And
It
what,
just, yeah, because now it's not here. It was in the other one. It's not in this one.
this is not enough for us to even have a discussion right now on it. So if we can we just
Can we just pull it?
pull it and
We
move
can
it to
pull
the
it.
next
We
meeting?
can pull it, okay.
Yeah, that'll be good. Thank you. All right, so now we're on the new business. Again, I've moved item number 18 up, so that'll be the first one. Item number 18 is a presentation by Palm Beach County on the Lake Park Scrub Natural Area proposed public use improvements and management plan text amendments. Town manager.
We have representatives from Palm Beach County here who will present this item.
And again, I have 2 public comment cards for this agenda item as well. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, commissioners and staff. My name is Deb Drum. I'm the director of Palm Beach County's Environmental Resources Management Department. More locally, we're known as ERM more familiarly. I'm very pleased to be on your agenda. Thank you for including us. I do appreciate the opportunity to come speak with you about the Lake Park Scrub Natural Area. We do, just the bottom line up front, we have a long history of collaboration on this site. I'm going to walk you through some of those details. And, what we're hoping is that we can reset and move forward tonight with your support to be able to move ahead and bring what we believe will be a really amazing amenity to the residents of your town. So with that, do you have the clicker? Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to introduce with me tonight. I have Sandy Mann. She's a principal planner and a 28-year veteran of the county and our department. So very pleased to be with her here tonight. Just to give you a quick overview, this is my department. We oversee 5 divisions, including in the center, you'll see natural resources stewardship. Those are all the areas, mosquito control, resources protection, some of the coastal work, beach work. But I'm here tonight to talk about natural resources stewardship. The county does have 38 Palm Beach County natural areas, comprising 31,800 acres throughout the county. We have invested over $500 million in the acquisition and the management of those properties over the years, and we have about 500,000 visitors a year to these areas collectively. I just want to highlight in the red circle, this shows where Lake Park Scrub is located in relation to some of the other natural areas that we have, especially in the area north of Southern Boulevard. So just to give you some context of what we're talking about tonight. In coordinating this presentation with your staff, I did want to let you know that we had met with the town manager about a year ago. It was in early January. Your town manager met with our county administrator, Virginia Baker, our county engineer, David Ricks, as well as other staff, including myself and other natural resources staff, to discuss what I'm here to talk to you about tonight. At that time, I know there's been a changeover with some different commissioners as well as different staff, so we thought it would be helpful to go through some of the history and to really provide some of that detail that we had discussed at that time. So as I mentioned, the history of the town of Lake Park has a long history of collaboration on this particular site. In 2001, the town partnered with the county to submit an application to the state of Florida Communities Trust Program, and that was funding to help acquire this property. And as part of that application process, the town and the county committed to fulfilling all commitments that were made in that grant application, including the installation of public use facilities. And there's a lot of language in all of those agreements that we have between us, both in interlocal agreements as well as the Florida Communities Trust Agreement, that says that we must do so, and we are compelled to do so with protection of natural resources as one of our primary objectives. To continue on the history, in August of 2003, the town, the county, and FCT entered into that grant award agreement, and it does require us to construct very specific elements of public use facilities that are listed here: a wildlife observation area, nature trail, parking lot, kiosk, bike rack within that site. And this is the real clincher here, is if we don't do those things, there is a reverter clause that says that property can go back to state ownership, and that they can come and say that we're not in compliance with our agreement and that we have to reconvey the property back to the state. We don't want that, and I don't think that that's where we're at. I don't think that that's something that the state even wants. But we are feeling the need to, after all of these years, really move forward and do something positive for the community. So, and I think this is the last slide of at least that history. Yes. So again, we entered into a separate agreement, an interlocal agreement that is currently enacted to cooperatively manage this natural area in a manner that, as I mentioned, primarily protects ecosystems and populations of listed species and doesn't cause harm to the natural resources. There's just some highlighted language there that highlights that interlocal agreement. That was included as part of your backup, so hopefully you've had a chance to look at that. But if not, I'm happy to talk through what's in that interlocal agreement, and we can look at this language. But the point is, what's highlighted is that we must protect, to the greatest extent that we can, the natural features of the site while doing compatible passive recreational use, public use facilities. And we have to do that with minimal harm to the natural resources. What I want to highlight here is that all in all, there's a lot of numbers on this table, but the bottom line is that the county, through our efforts of both acquisition and management and planned activities to put public use facilities on this property, we will have invested $4.7 million into your community. And that is of no cost to you. These are costs that we have incurred either as the county through bond referendums or through grants that we have received or plan to apply for in order to make these projects a reality. So why I'm here tonight, I just wanted to show you, and I am going to ultimately at the end of this presentation be asking you to pass a motion to allow us to proceed with these proposed text amendments to our management plan using, highlighting these changes in public use facilities. And on the left, you'll see a map showing what was proposed in 2004. And in full disclosure, you'll see it's a little hard to see on here, but the management access gate, one of the big issues that has been brought up by the town in the past was the location of that entry point at the northern side of the property, which is where the town had preferred to have that parking area. And the right, you can see that we relocated that to the south area. That had always been sort of a point of discussion. But in 2004, like I said, in full transparency, one of the things that we hadn't done is a full engineering analysis of this whole management plan. And so we have done that. And in January, when we met with that town staff and our county engineer confirmed that there were serious safety concerns and issues of non-approval putting the parking area to the north because of the curve in the road right there. And I will show you later in the presentation some other issues that became a safety concern, as well as I mentioned, we have to protect the resources. Putting the parking area in that northern area would have much more impacts to the natural resources of the site and the more ecologically sensitive areas of the site. So we would be concerned about getting Florida Communities Trust approval to put a parking area in there. So that you can see, I just want to highlight some of the differences. You can see in this map a little bit easier. Same map, just took out the satellite photo behind it so the actual use facilities pop out a little bit. So in the 2025 plan that we're proposing, the parking area would be off of Silver Beach Road. That parking area has been reduced from 10 spots to 5 spots, and 5 spots with bus parking as well. And you can see there is a natural surface hiking trail that goes through the area. There is a wildlife observation area. There's a wildlife observation platform, which we think is going to be the highlight and really something that people will seek out to go visit, and a kiosk. And so all of the point here is that all of the elements that are required of us as per our Florida Communities Trust Agreement are included in this plan. And again, we've looked at the engineering, we've looked at the feasibility, and we've looked at impacts to resources, and that's what's resulted in us looking at these, the change in the plan and the modifications that we're requesting. So the management plan text amendments include relocating the parking lot from the northwest portion of the site to the south central portion. It reduces the size of the parking lot from a 10-car, 2-bus parking lot to a 5-car, 1-bus parking lot to reduce impacts to endangered habitat. And it also adds a kiosk at the northernmost point of the hiking trail to provide the information on the historical features of the site. It adds an uncovered wildlife observation area along the nature trail to meet the Florida Communities Trust Grant Award Agreement requirements, and it provides a resting area for people with mobility disabilities. And it also relocates the covered wildlife observation platform to an area with a higher elevation to improve the visitor experience. Again, I think this is going to be a very unique feature, even for all of our natural areas that we have in the county. And it also increases the length of a paved, accessible nature trail and a natural surfaced hiking trail by about 737 and 293 feet respectively to, again, improve visitor experience. I want to dig in a little bit on why we have the changes to the parking lot. We've met with the county engineer who oversees roadways To improve traffic safety, the old plan had a driveway located along a curve with a significant grade change. It drops off into the new site pretty significantly. And the new plan has no curve and only a gradual change in elevation. And it minimizes the impacts to natural resources. The site reduction of that parking lot reduces clearing and filling in the endangered habitat. To give you an idea of what that looks like when I am talking to you about the elevation change, this gives you an idea of what the old parking lot area looked like, and this gives you an idea of what the new area would look like, or does look like in terms of elevation changes. So where we are in this process and what the process is and what the next steps are is that we have received, for these changes that I'm talking to you about tonight, we have received approval from our Natural Areas Management Advisory Council. They are advisory to our Board of County Commissioners. And they have, on November 15th, fairly recently, recommended board approval of the proposed amendment to Lake Park Scrub Management Plan. Our agreement, our collaboration, our history of working with you, it is a requirement and a necessity and very important to us to be in collaboration with you and to coordinate with you on this. We're here today to do that. And so this is like that next step. Then the next step after that will be asking our Board of County Commissioners to approve the proposed amendment to the management plan. That's currently scheduled, depending on how things go tonight. We've got that on our schedule for the board on January the 7th, assuming that things go well tonight. And then we would then go to request the Florida Communities Trust to approve the proposed amendment to the Lake Park Management Plan. And so what I do want to highlight before I ask for questions is that opening this area to public use, I really believe is going, not only is a great investment in your community, but opening the area up for people, residents and visitors to actually use the area is something that we're super excited about. We have programs, like programming that will attract people to the area, to say, like free programming, to say, walk with a naturalist. So our staff goes out, we have an adventure awaits program, and so we have a calendar of events, and it's bird watching in the natural areas. So it's like, come meet one of our biologists on site, as an example. We have everything from yoga in the natural areas to wildflower identification workshops, photography workshops, and we have a variety of those activities throughout natural areas in the county. And so we invite the people, we want people that live here to connect with nature. That's our whole purpose. And so this would allow for those kind of programmed activities to occur within your community. And we're very excited about the opportunity to, create those things. I know that you probably have questions about public safety and responsibilities, and I'm happy to answer any and all of those questions. And as I mentioned tonight, I'm hoping to ask you to move to accept this request to proceed with these proposed text amendments. It is a requirement for some of our grants and for Florida Communities Trust and our agreement that you do take a vote on that. It doesn't need to be in the form of a resolution. And so with that, here are some real photographs of the natural area that's right here in your community that we're very excited to share this with others, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'm going to grab some water, though.
We do thank you for that presentation. You articulated it very well. Give us all our highlights and points to understand, and also the adjustments that you've made. Right now, I'm going to open up to questions on the council. Commissioner Taylor.
Yeah, first of all, I'm super excited too. Everything looks wonderful. It's just like we're so fortunate to have this area. I do have one question, if it would be possible to add maybe a pedestrian and bicycle entry on the other side, on the Lake Park side, so you wouldn't have to go Silver Beach to access it. Maybe just a small gate and a bicycle rack. And, would that be possible to add anything like that?
I think that we would be, are there any restrictions?
Let's see, on that one area where,
You're talking in the north end, Commissioner Taylor?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I absolutely hear what you're saying. It's not uncommon for us to be able to accommodate something like that. We just have to be careful that we're compliant with American with Disabilities Act and providing access, because some of those areas, I mean, we can provide that to the south. This might be a specific area that we have to look at, but we can definitely look at that. A pedestrian access from that area, if it makes sense to connect with your roadway expansion and your connection that's ultimately going to happen there, happy to look into that possibility.
Okay, I never thought about the ADA. I have a son in a wheelchair, but he would be going there by, his vehicle, which I assume that there'll be a handicap parking included in that 5.
On the south, yes.
So I don't know how many people would take a wheelchair there, but I understand what you're saying. It would have to connect to something that they would be accessible. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Hensley?
First of all, I want to say I'm very excited about opening it up to Lake Park, but also having a historic park like this, and the Palm Beach County School District have made an initiative to this year 8th and 6th graders to attend a field trip where they have to see a nature park, and this would be great to have them visit Lake Park, our schools at least, to visit Lake Park parks. I do like it that we're not damaging none of the historic factors of it for the park. I think I probably have one question, and then you brought it up about the safety, and how would that be provided?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. And first of all, I wanted just to highlight that we have a very strong partnership with the school district on environmental education with my department. And I'm very proud of that because we developed it. It didn't just, no one told us to, it just kind of happened, especially when COVID hit. We brought the outdoors in with virtual field trips. Another story for another day, but the fact that we could open this up, one of the things when we spoke to your staff about a year ago, one of the really important tenets from the town's perspective was the opportunity for environmental education.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we have the bus parking and that we would have it opened up to provide that opportunity and that option for educators or for camps or that kind of thing, I think is very exciting. In addition to what we, as a department with our Adventure Awaits program, could provide. So that's all happened. That all could happen. On the public safety side of things, my department has, for our 31,800 acres, of which Lake Park is part of, we have a contract specifically with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, and I know that's who you contract with your public safety as well. But the crew that we fund is specific to enforcing ordinances on our natural areas. And so we have a dedicated crew that does a rotation around all of our natural areas throughout the county to ensure that everything is being adhered to. It's an extra set of eyes on the ground specific to natural areas. And so my program is extremely fortunate to have a longstanding history and relationship with the PBSO. It's not just, like if anybody, it's kind of a see something, say something. If anybody could see something, you can always call PBSO. In our case, we have a dedicated staff who is got their eyes just on those natural areas. We also have a dedicated line, we call it the bird line, and I believe is it 616? 616 bird? 616 bird, B-I-R-D. And that's a 24/7 monitored line that if somebody sees something on a natural area, they call and they get response, and it's 24/7. So we have, I think, a really good history. I have a database of all of the tickets that have been written throughout the county on natural areas, but having those extra eyes on the ground is very beneficial to us and to you.
Thank you, and I'm really happy that I wasn't here when they first started the project, but to move it so it won't damage the historic part of the north part of the scrub.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hensley. Commissioner Thomas?
Yeah, I do have some questions, and I think probably staff and our current sitting commission could help. As I look at the aerials from 2004 and currently, I've seen that, there certainly has been a lot of change as far as the vegetation. And so I'm asking, how often does staff go out and survey the parcel to find out really what's out there? Because since then, we have had a lot of development that has been adjacent to that area. And I know that in some way it has definitely impacted the habitat there. So I'm wondering, now that we're in 2024 going into 2025, really what's out there now.
I'm so glad you asked the question, because even though there have not been public use facilities on the property, we've been actively managing the property since we acquired it. That's one of the responsibilities of my department, and so we have crews out there all the time. I was out there myself, walking that western line, just to really, I don't want to come present without having put boots on the ground myself. So I've walked the property, the entire property. My staff is out there all the time. We actively manage the site to remove exotic vegetation from the site. Mm-hmm. And so if you see changes in vegetation, it's because we've been managing it as what it is, globally imperiled scrub habitat. The scrub habitat that occurs in this area truly is globally unique. It doesn't occur anywhere else but in our region of Florida. And the fact that you have that very special place in your town is a wonderful thing. Mm-hmm. We do have to do mechanical reduction of vegetation because scrub habitat evolved in Florida with fire as good fire, not bad fire. Mm-hmm. But this is too close to too many urban areas for us to really put a lot of fire through the area. So we do result on mechanical reduction of vegetation to keep it healthy, both from a biodiverse standpoint and safe.
The other question is too, and I believe within this last year, we heard something about a road going through, and I didn't see that like being depicted here, but my thoughts were that it was going to connect from Jewel to Silver Beach, which it appears is going to go. It's going to cut somewhat in the middle of this parcel, and I didn't see that necessarily being depicted here, and I just wanted to know where we were and what's going on with that.
I'm glad you brought up the road issue because that had been a big point of discussion
Yes.
with past commissions. And so there is not a proposed road to go through this site. That would not be allowed. The extension that you're talking about is the Jewel Road moving to the east. Mm-hmm. And so at one point in time, early in these discussions, at one point in time that I did verify with our engineering and public works department that had come off of their 5-year road plan. Mm-hmm. And that don't know that that was very popular with you as commissioners to see that road not prioritized. But I did confirm with the engineering department very recently that that road is on the 5-year road plan. I think you're number 16 on the list right now. Okay. And so it is planned to go into design and engineering, like either now or soon into 2025. And so they do have a plan to be constructing that connector road to the north. But that should not affect the natural area that we're talking about in any way.
So it will not at all impact from Jewel Road to Silver Beach. So even if it's along the outskirts of it?
Not through our property. If it's on the outskirts and it's outside of our property line, I can't speak to that because that's not property that I would have any. I don't have ownership of it, like with the county.
But it's so. I just want to make it clear to myself too.
Yeah.
So there is no proposed road that's going from Jewel that's going through this parcel to Silver Beach.
Not through this parcel, no, ma'am. There is a 5-year road
Right.
to go
I
from
think it-
Jewel, the extension to the east.
I want to say it goes around the rim of that property, around the top end.
The top end, yes, but not.
It follows basically the borderline on the top here. From Jewel, it
Sorry, I
goes
wish I
up
had
and
a
then
pointer.
it curves out.
It goes around.
Right, it curves out, but not within the parcel.
Okay. Okay.
Is that?
And,
are we all understanding the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think if we have something we can provide Commissioner Thomas with, so she can see that
Because I know that there has been concern about it. You know, I've heard residents say, wait a minute, what's going to happen? Are they going to put a road through this scrub area? What, you know, it's just going to totally like destroy this. You know, what is this about? And I just want to be on record to hear that there is no road that's going through the parcel.
No, ma'am. That would be a violation of our agreement with the state. It would be a violation from the town and from the county as joint participants in our interlocal agreement. I mean, everything I've said has been that the boundary that you see of the natural area, there's not a road to go through there because we bought it for conservation. It is now zoned. Your future land use and your zoning are conservation. We have obligations to the state to protect this area and the habitat that is within there. We're doing everything we can to protect it, which is a big reason why we moved the parking lot to the south end. So not to go through the area, no ma'am.
And then do we have really active wetland areas? And I mean, I saw that you have like wetland restoration area, but are there any really wet areas that's designated as wetland in there?
Yes, you do have some wetland areas. It's that hatched area that you see on the 2000.
I see that. It looks, it doesn't necessarily, is it really actively wet? No. No, okay, thank you. I was going to like say no.
I got you. This is
Okay.
So
Okay.
to give you further, Commissioner Thomas, I want to give you further security and like peace that there's not a road going through this property. There are conservation easements on the property held by the Water Management District and the Nature Conservancy that a road through this area just would not be permitted.
Okay. So any hard surfaces would actually be as far as trails, but it wouldn't be hard trails. It would be more like mulch or something
A portion
like
of the trails have to be hardened, but we try to minimize that, but that's part of our American with Disabilities Act requirements.
that. Like
And so,
pavers, hard pavers.
yeah, so
smooth
there's,
pavers.
it's concrete on the yellow, the bigger area that you see in yellow on the right.
Yep.
That's the natural surface trail, okay? Oh, thank you. Thank you. And the blue area, that is the paved ADA compliant trail. And that's going to go to this overlook to the north. It's in the like brown box. And that is very high up on the elevation. And when you stand on top of that wildlife observation tower and look out over the site, it's going to be really remarkable. And it's going to be something that people are going to feel like it's part of their town and that they care for it. That's what we're hoping for.
Thank you.
Okay. We're good on this side. Vice Mayor.
You said that you met with the town manager in like January. The only thing I heard from him after meeting with the county at some point during the last year was that you were looking into acquiring the old junkyard to put parking and like a nature center assembly area, kind of like a Mounts botanical type of building there. What happened with that?
So when we met with the town, I'm sorry that he's not here. I'd be happy to have a conversation about everyone's recollection of that meeting, but it was presented to us that was an interest of the town to do a nature center there and to have us acquire the property, but that was not part of the discussion that the county was going to pursue that.
Okay.
So it was perceived that we were going to be...
That you had an interest in partnering with us to see if a nature center could be located there. We're all for, like I said, we're all for environmental education, but my department is not really the department that creates nature centers. That's more of an active park. Ours is much more passive recreation. But we did highlight to the staff who was interested in environmental education that we thought that it could fulfill the function of environmental education by the parking area and the programming that we could include on the property.
But also I agree with Commissioner Taylor's comment about providing pedestrian bicycle access from the north, because I'm not going to ride my bike along Silver Beach. It's just too fast of an arterial.
I will echo that same sentiment.
Okay. Absolutely. I think that we can seriously look at that. We want to make sure, we'll have to meet with our roadway engineers to make sure that part of their plans for that extension of the Jewel Road and going east, just to make sure that it's going to be sufficient and it's not going to be an attractant to create a safety issue for attracting pedestrians to the area. It needs to have the appropriate crosswalks and all of that. If we can overcome some of those safety concerns, we'll definitely look at that, and we can follow up with you on how to incorporate that.
And it might be further to the east as the Park Avenue extension is designed and.
Yes, and there might be some opportunities. The other thing that came up in the discussion that was about a year ago with staff was that there was a collective recognition that in order for the road to be extended, there were town buildings that had to be reconciled in terms of where they were going to be relocated and that sort of thing. That was just part of the discussion in full transparency.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm pretty much in the, my apologies, Commissioner Taylor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I haven't heard anything about a time frame. We're all excited, I think. So how long will it take to initiate something that we can, enjoy?
So this is a critical step for us to get everything to our board and get the management plan modified with these new plans. That is an important part of these next steps, and that's going to allow us to, part of the reason that we're pushing the timeline and how we moved it quickly on our board, I might have waited, till February to see how this was all going to go before I put it on my board agenda. But I went ahead and did that because we have some timelines. We only have a couple of opportunities. Like once every 2 years, there's a particular grant that we're interested in going for, and that deadline is coming up. Okay. And so this all had to be ironed out. We'll go for that grant. We have been very successful at getting those grants in the past. I have personally gone to Tallahassee and met with the Division of State Land staff about this site and the potential for it, and they're all very excited. So I think that we're well positioned to have a very strong grant application, and I would be happy to come back at your convenience or to communicate through your staff updates on what our process is with this particular site so you guys are aware.
And you say it's on the agenda for which meeting?
January 7th to our Board of County Commissioners.
I just want to make sure I'm in that building. I'm one floor down. So I'll take a walk up when that comes up.
Excellent.
For the grant application, do you need a letter of support from the town commission?
It couldn't hurt. That would be fantastic if you could, with your motion, include that letter of support for the grant and just have that we're covered, and we could work with staff to provide that, and they'll know that they have the green light. That would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
Looking for a resolution? Did you state that you needed a resolution?
I do need your requested motion is
I'll make that.
right there. The words are right there in front of you, so I need someone to make that motion.
Can I make that motion?
Prior to doing that, I have 2 public comment cards.
Okay.
First one from Patricia LeDuc.
Yay.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm the unofficial ambassador for the Lake Park Scrub. I've visited several times, and that's Patricia LeDuc, 409 2nd Street. I am so excited about this opportunity for the town. I have frequently visited the Scrub. I was actually out there on Sunday. Judith, there are a lot of still active birds, butterflies, saw a gopher, tortoise, burrow. There were some migratory birds and some evidence of maybe a coyote or some dogs wandering around through there. But it's clean, it's safe. I go out there often, and this is going to be such a great opportunity, as Commissioner Hensley brought up, for students to come and learn about the environment, appreciate how birds and bees and pollen and, the native plants are so important to our environment and to our state. And to have this little area, it's very small, it's only 56.78 acres. But once you're there, and especially up on that observation area, I've talked to Ross of several times. He told me it's 36 feet above sea level. You can see the whole scrub. You can see those beautiful warehouse buildings. You can see the Silver Beach Road. But to have the access on the Silver Beach side, to me, does make sense as well. It's a flatter land. We don't have that natural scrub, elevated area. You won't disrupt that. When I was just there on Sunday, I was witness to some of the tortoise burrows there, because that's very soft. They burrow, and they have to have that soft sand. So I agree about the pedestrian and the bike access. That would be wonderful. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I climb over the pasture gate because I don't like, to park my car. There's really no place on Silver Beach to park, so I park on 12th, climb over the gate, and I'm 64 years old. So to me, to have those 5 parking spaces is going to be fantastic for our community, for the families coming into our community, and for our environment in general. So I appreciate you listening to her presentation. Everything she said, I think you've probably all heard from me over the past few years, and I'm excited, and I hope that this is something we can move forward with. Thank you.
Thank you. Brady Drew?
Brady Drew, Sable Palm Drive. Thanks for coming out tonight and doing that wonderful presentation, and thanks for considering this this motion to improve the public access to the park. First of all, I'd like to put in a plug for not putting a road on the town-owned land at the north end of this endangered scrub habitat. That land is functionally part of the scrub, and a road will significantly affect the plants, animals, and visitors inside and outside the park boundaries. Moving on, after 20 years, I'm very excited to see the park open to public use sooner rather than later. I also went out there hiking this weekend, and it was so nice. I plan to take my family back when they come to visit for the holidays. So really looking forward to some improved visitor facilities out there. To me, a parking lot on the south side also makes a lot of sense. That's both for protecting the scrub, but also just because Silver Beach is so busy already. That's where the cars are. You can hear them there already. And I'd like to second the Commission's request for pedestrian access and a bike rack on the north side at 12th and Jules, so Patricia and I don't have to climb over the fence anymore. It'd make it a lot more convenient for those of us that live on the north side of town and choose not to drive. So it sounds like the Commission might be in agreement with all this, so I'm excited to see the project move forward if it does.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so thank you again for the presentation. Thank you for the public comments. I will echo that sentiment on one of the public comments. I think we're all in alignment with this. We're looking forward to it. I myself am looking forward to it as well, and I will entertain that requested motion. Commissioner Taylor.
Me?
Absolutely.
I move to accept Palm Beach County's request to proceed with the proposed text amendments to the Lake Park Scrub Area Management Plan and the public use improvements as presented.
Do we have a second? Or is there?
I wanted to amend it in order to include, well,
To include the
entrance.
the entrance, the north
Yeah.
entrance.
Well, and a letter of
Bicycle
support
and
for the
pedestrian.
grant.
As well as the letter of support for the grant.
And which will include a letter of support from the commission for the grant.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think we're good. I second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? We are looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
It's like a gift. It's like a Christmas
Thank you.
gift. Thank you.
I'm glad you feel that way. Thank you.
No, it is a Christmas gift. And all right, next.
Hey, Patricia, that's for you.
All right, next we have our discussion of the legislative and funding priority list for the 2025 Florida legislative session. Town Manager.
We are very pleased to have our lobbyist here, Ellen Center Bogdanov, to present this item.
Ms. Bogdanov, how are we doing?
Oh, we're hanging in there, you
All
know?
right.
Looking forward to the holidays, I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Mayor, Commissioners, Vice Mayor, put together a little presentation just to kind of give everybody kind of a background of where we've been and where we're going. And Right now, your team in Tallahassee is myself and Cody Rogers. We have other members of the Becker team that we tap into when we need to. But we're going to give you kind of a legislative outlook because every 2 years, the culture of the House and the Senate change based on the leadership. So it's important to know what to expect, and that usually kind of crafts the strategy that we use when we try to make suggestions about what appropriations items you should go for. And then obviously there's always those League of City issues that, you know, the preemptions and all of the things that happen at the state level. Am I doing this? Oh, cool. Got it. Okay, this is just kind of the history. We started with you all in 2017. In the first year, we received $600,000 for lakeshore drainage. In 2019, we got some road striping. In 2022, we got another $700,000. In 23, there was $1 million for the septic to sewer conversion. And then in 2024 was your big project that you partnered with Palm Beach Shores to get the fill from the dredging. We've also had a lot of other activity. It's a total of $3.3 million since 2017, but there's been a lot of other activity. We worked with your prior town manager with respect to getting some FEMA money and all of the stuff that happened there. Not to mention there were some priorities on some of your mobility issues. We worked on some legislation as well. So that's always available, and we try to keep you in the loop about, what the hot topics are and what would be of concern to Lake Park. I think many of you know this, but some of you might not. I mean, I grew up in this area, so I'm very familiar with Lake Park because that's kind of like was my part of my stomping grounds. This 2025 legislative session. So every other year they change the Constitution, whereas we will start in March this year. Normally, like last year, we started in January. And that's, quite frankly, the history of that is a bunch of people just wanted to spend spring break with their kids. And they got tired of every year having to go through the legislative session. And some of this you already know, so I'm not going to go through the basics of it, but I thought maybe, some of the folks out in the audience may not realize it. Our regular session this year will start March 4th. We'll end on May 2nd. We start committee weeks right after the first of the year. We did have some committee weeks. I went to organizational session in November when the new speaker and the Senate president were sworn in, but in December, there were 2 committee weeks, but they were called Legislative University. It's where they train the new members, they give them the rules and regulations, they do their ethics training, they do all of that, but there's no real business going on. So I just wanted to kind of give you a background on what we can expect. We've had some very flush years. With COVID and the federal government bringing down a lot of money, there was a lot of excess money, and the appropriations and the asks on the appropriations level just kind of skyrocketed. And this particular speaker, Danny Perez, who's from Miami, kind of wants to reel that back, reel it back in. Every year, everybody was asking for more and more money, and it was kind of interesting. We went from like $700 million in asks to over $2 billion in asks. And the way that everything is structured, the leadership holds back a lot more money, and they've been very generous, and everybody kind of got what they wanted over the last few years. But we're starting to enter a downturn in terms of the general revenue that's going to be coming into the state. Obviously, our COVID money is going to end, the federal money is going to end, and what they're projecting is in 2026, which is not this year, but the following year, a $2.82 billion deficit. And then in 2027, a $6.94 billion deficit. In large part, that was kind of created, the Senate president last year had a huge priority about putting a lot of recurring dollars into the healthcare system. There have been a lot of nursing homes and doctors and hospitals. They've kind of been at a fixed rate, and what they ended up doing is putting a lot more money into the system on recurring dollars. And that's not just a one-time deal. It was almost $1 billion. It was almost $1 billion. Well, that $1 billion is going to continue to occur every year, and it's also going to grow. So we have to prepare for that. I mean, I was in the legislature when we only had to cut, and it wasn't these numbers, but $1 billion out of the budget. Probably one of the most painful things you have to do, because that's the recurring dollars. Where does that come out of? Education, healthcare, all of the things that keep government going. What they're probably going to do, which is kind of typical every year, is we're still going to have our popular tax cuts, sales tax holidays, hurricane holidays. They do those, and that comes out of general revenue. They're going to continue with affordable housing, which is an important issue for everybody. Increases for the healthcare workers, which was the Senate President's priority last year. Florida's universal voucher program is so popular and exciting for everybody. It's just blowing up. I mean, the private schools have waiting lists, and you're probably going to see more of that, which is going to put a challenge on the public school system, where they're going to kind of have to compete like the private entity to try to attract students. Medicaid growth and shortfall in the employee health insurance program. I mean, Medicaid is always an issue. It's one of healthcare is really, and education are our largest budget items. The 24-25 budget was about $116 billion. It's kind of mind-boggling when you think of how much money that is. I just wanted to kind of give you a chart to kind of see where we were in 2017-18 when we started with the town of Lake Park. Our budget was, in terms of recurring and non-recurring dollars, we were at, $62 billion. So we went from 2017-18 to $62 billion all the way up to 24-25, which is $116 billion. It's a huge growth. We are a huge growth state. We saw it happen even after COVID. A lot of people were coming to the state of Florida, and we still anticipate that we're going to have huge growth. But with huge growth, ultimately comes huge expenses as well. Just to kind of give you a sense of the personalities this year in terms of the budget, Danny Perez is just really big on trying to stay within the means. He likes to keep government in check. He's from Miami, straight shooter, love the guy. He'll tell you no when it's no, and he'll tell you yes when it's yes, and I love that in the political process, because very often, as you all know, sometimes you get maybe, maybe not, I don't know, so you don't know where you're going. I've asked a lot of my clients. I think, when you ask for smaller projects, you have a lot more opportunity to get them. I always say it's like what becomes a flashing sign, especially in the governor's office, if they're looking to veto to kind of put more money into reserves, is projects over $1 million. I don't know what you all have in mind. I have not seen it yet, but when you discuss what you want to do, it's like, I always say you're better off asking for 2 projects under $1 million than 1 project for 1.5. The House has a rule that when we go into trying to get the appropriation, what they have done historically is they give you 50%. Because they have a rule. If you don't get 50%, you're out. You're out of order. You don't even get the project. The Senate doesn't have. The Senate's a little bit looser in terms of their due dates and how they process things. And we just kind of go into the Senate to say, at least give us a match, and then we can negotiate up from there potentially. But we always like to see if we can get full funding, because if we can get full funding, then you're more likely to stay in the budget and stay put. But we saw a lot of kind of interesting things. It used to be, I always say to people, oh, you get into recurring budget, you're safe, but that's just not true. There's no such thing as recurring funding anymore, because it's a moving target. They take recurring funding, the projects are in the budget. I mean, there were a couple of the folks up there were like, they were in the budget, they were totally there, and then budget comes out, final print, it's gone. A lot of negotiations behind the scenes, as you all know. But I think it's going to be a good year this year, but they're preparing everybody for the future. So they're trying to manage expectations. So in turn, because they're trying to manage our expectations, I try to manage my clients' expectations. I don't know what you all have in mind. We've kind of discussed some of the projects, but when you do discuss it, and I'm here to guide you, to help you. I know you all like to come up to Tallahassee. You just tell me when. You have 2 really good members. I know Mac Bernard. I served with him. He's great. You're going to love him. He's already agreed to sponsor your project. I talk to Tay all the time, and he's all in. He's going to sponsor the project. They're just waiting to hear from us so that they can get going. And we have our house projects that are due in February. And it's, a little bit looser in terms of the time. But I always say to people, the sooner the better, because leadership is telling members, we want you to do less. We want you to ask for less. So I like to be in the first round so that they're more inclined to say, okay, well, I've already committed to the town of Lake Park, so maybe I can't do one that's coming in late. So I'm trying to encourage everybody to get their projects in as soon as possible, hopefully, right after the first of the year. So, and I'm happy to answer any questions about what's happening.
Yeah. If I may, I think our grant writer had a conversation with you about including our oval about on 10th Street.
Including what?
The oval about.
The oval.
Yeah, on 10th Street, we're looking to do like a roundabout, but they're calling it an oval about.
Oh, an oval about. Okay, I've never heard that expression.
Yeah.
I've
Right.
heard a roundabout. Those are tough. Those are tough projects to get, meaning love stormwater projects. Those are kind of easier to get. Not that we don't try and we won't push through, but the transportation budget is not as big as some of these other budgets where, we have, and as you know, the grant program, I think I heard you talking about your vulnerability assessment, which you have, and they do have the Resiliency Trust Fund, which I worked on and helped create several years ago. So there's always money there, but what I would always tell people is like when we craft it from a safety standpoint, which we know that oval abouts or roundabouts,
Right.
that's what they're all
Right.
about,
Mm-hmm.
is it's all in the language. So we will work with you with the language to make sure that people understand. That's actually how we ended up getting the striping. Because striping is not really very sexy or interesting for people to say, like, why do you need striping? But it really became a huge safety issue on that street, and that's how we framed it. So and it was only $29,000, so we got it. It was easy to get.
But we can probably take that same approach with the oval about to explain the safety concerns and,
Right.
and how this will change that narrative.
Right. Perfect.
Right.
I mean, and we have stats on maybe accidents that have occurred and, the statistics that we show that the roundabout will reduce the number of accidents, and especially if it's near maybe a park or school, that could be helpful as well.
Yeah.
I think
Based
you're
on-
going to do 2 projects, right?
Well, in the according to the information I have from our grant writer, is the creation of the oval about, which is similar to a roundabout but oval, to enhance safety of a 5-legged intersection, 10th Street and Prosperity Farm, to enhance safety, public safety, and support the economy because the roads would be easier and safer to traverse.
Okay.
Right.
And I think there was a second project that I thought I talked to Merrill about. I don't know. Is there anyone that's there?
Not according to this. We can check with
No?
her.
Okay. I
Yeah,
thought there
we'll
was a
check.
second
We'll check.
project. I
Yeah.
don't remember it just being that one. So, but, I think, if you all wanted to put in, 1 or 2 projects, I think your sponsors would be happy to do that. And, do you guys have a date that you're coming up, or are you just going to come up with League of Cities?
Palm Beach County Action Days, first day of session.
Yep.
So
Always
that's-
fun.
That's the other opportunity that's associated with, a group going up.
It's always a tough time to get appointments because everybody's got their families up because it's the first session and they're hanging out with their families, and usually leadership does events and stuff like that. So if there's another opportunity and the budget usually comes out within the 3rd or 4th week of session, so you want to try to come up maybe before if we're advocating for it. So if there's an opportunity for you guys to come up maybe the 2nd or 3rd week, that would probably be ideal. And then I don't know if you're going to be watching, if there's certain legislation that you guys may be concerned about. I know you all have been in the past very good at kind of pointing out kind of your priorities, and we kind of track those, and we give you a red flag when we think something's coming up that could be problematic for you.
Yeah.
I know when we went up last year, it was like that week when they were setting the budget, and so it was, we were just popping
Timing was
in
perfect.
and kind of begging for money.
Well, and we got it. I mean, it was, I know you got it in the previous year, but it was vetoed.
Yeah.
But we weren't a part of that. I think it's last year that we kind of actively partnered with them to try to get that money. So that was kind of a good thing. We worked the governor's office too, because they like to veto that red pen.
Do we have any other questions? Commissioner Taylor.
When you were talking about, would mobility issues, would that be a priority as far as safety? We have a mobility plan, but I mean, a hot topic like Mr. Sullivan, and I've been hearing a lot around town about safety issues, near accidents, killing people on scooters and all that stuff. We don't have any bike lanes. We don't have anything like, safety features for all the new mobility systems that are out there. Would any of that come under this situation?
Well, I don't know not necessarily from an appropriation standpoint. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if you all are familiar with the wildlife corridor out on the West Coast, but I thought it was all about wildlife, but it's not. I mean, you would love it. It's all about riding bikes and pedestrian pathways, and
we got a lot of that here in town.
They're
really wild.
Right. And that is, a lot of times they're getting that through, parks. That's always been tough stuff to get unless you have a leadership priority. And the Senate president, that's her legacy. She wanted to fix the wildlife corridor to make it a contiguous, area that was going to be preserved where people could actually bike and ride through it. So there's, getting park stuff is difficult. I mean, I know there's legislation that we've worked on in terms of, so what you all need to understand, and some of you who have been here for a while can attest to it, the legislature is kind of really keen on preemption. They love to tell local governments, what to do and what not to do. And I think that what we might end up seeing again is stuff to do with permitting. They've kind of keep coming back with that permitting stuff. That's something to keep an eye on. I know I worked with, John before. He had the mobility. It had to do with the fee with the counties. That was the mobility fee issue. That's the mobility stuff that I was referring to. But we just kind of keep an eye on it. And then the league is really good at identifying. And a lot of times we jump in with the league because we might have a specific relationship and we can talk about it from a more kind of a local level, like how it's impacting a specific city. Give them examples that they can relate to. And then engage your members like Mac, who's well-known and very well-respected up there. And Tay is really kind of coming into his own. He's doing really well. So you guys are very fortunate. You have two solid members, and I know there were some years where we had some challenges, but you guys have two great members. I love working with them.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions on this side? No? All right.
Mayor, for clarification, there is a suggested motion in the ARF to move that the above priority, which is the old about, be approved for forwarding to the state legislature for the 2025 legislative session. Is that a motion that the commission wants to make at this time?
I think Merrill needs to work with Ellen to see if it can be crafted so Ellen thinks it's something that could be supported.
Yeah. Okay. Before we make this motion. That's a good point. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, just crafting this to see if this is enough to convince. For Ellen to see if it's convincing enough for them to pursue.
If perhaps maybe you all could give, I think that's important to give the direction for Merrill to work with me. I think that's what she was looking for. Yeah. Because when I asked her what you guys were submitting, she said she wanted direction from the commission before she would do that.
We want Merrill to work with you.
Okay, perfect.
That's the only one that staff has suggested, proposed, correct.
Is there another one?
That could be something maybe you and staff could
if there's something else,
entertain. They could look into other things that they have. Maybe there's something else out there that.
Vulnerability? Well, you mean more resiliency type dollars?
Those are great grant applications. I mean, they've been putting $100 million into the Resiliency Trust Fund annually. and there's a timeline, and I can send Merrill, and I think Merrill has the webpage where you submit, and as long as you have your vulnerability assessment, you're eligible to receive those funds, and then they just kind of rank them based on.
I hate to bring it up, but are you meaning maybe like monies to help with seawall replacement? Because it's private property as well as public property that
right.
has seawall that
And
needs to be
and
replaced.
usually with those grants, they give like priority, not necessarily priorities, but requirements that the private owners may not necessarily
Benefit?
agree with.
Oh, so I'm working, I'm going to be meeting with the Senator Pizzo on some potential legislation to work with living seawalls, which is going to be huge because they're trying to make sure that, we're not just putting concrete, but we're putting in, the type of materials where we can actually kind of act like almost like a coral reef, and to give some incentives for people to install them. So I'll keep you guys in the loop on that. It's really cool stuff. And
what I'm thinking of in terms of what I'm talking about is like, for instance, if they do repair the seawall, or they do grant us something for the seawall, but they require something like a boardwalk for public use that goes through not only public but private. And that's where the discrepancies could come about that way, because all parties would have to agree.
Okay.
So,
what would you want to do at the state level? Require them to do it, or?
No.
No? Okay.
Just funding assistance.
Funding assistance.
For the seawall replacement,
Absolutely.
but not have a public access requirement.
Correct.
Oh,
Correct.
got it.
That's
it.
what I mean by it when in terms of the requirement.
That's what the grants require. I know they do that when they put federal sand on the beach. You kind of lose your right to your private beach. So it's similar in terms of if you use grant money, they have to provide some level of public access. Got it. Got it. I think that's why we're working on the what I would call the living seawalls, to kind of create incentives for those. So I'll keep you guys in the loop on that. That's interesting. We can talk further, I guess. Thank you.
All right, so we'll hold off on that one.
You want to bring it back on January 15th?
Yeah.
If they're far enough
If
along.
they're far enough along,
along? Okay.
We will be. I'll talk to her. She's working over the Christmas holiday. I'll talk to her then.
So then let me just ask this, in terms of this next resolution, 171224, that we can go through it regardless of the discussion, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so that's fine. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
Actually, before you go, you have a comment? Oh, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Oh.
For her not to go back and sit down.
Oh.
For me to stay up?
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, she doesn't have to stand either. But. All right, so next we have Resolution 171224, amendment to the agreement between the Town of Lake Park and Becker and I apologize if I chopped the name up, to increase the compensation from $3,500 per month to $5,000 per month, $60,000 per year, effective 10/1/2024, as budgeted for fiscal year 2025.
Actually, this is more of a housekeeping item. At its March 7th, 2018 meeting, the commission approved a memorandum of agreement between Town Lake Park and the firm of Becker and Poliakoff for the provision of lobbyist services. The purpose of this agenda item is to amend the memorandum of agreement with Becker and Poliakoff to continue as lobbyist service from October 1, 2024 until either party decides to terminate the agreement, as previously stated, at the monthly retainer of $5,000 per month, increased from $3,500 per month, which increased amount has been budgeted for fiscal year 2025. And staff recommends approval.
All right, if we have any questions, let me know. Commissioner Thomas?
I make a motion for approval.
All right, second. Any other further discussion? Seeing hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Next, we have item number 15.
Drive safely.
Neighborhood Block Party Grant Discussion. Town
And
manager.
our special events director will present this item.
Party over here.
you're here, too.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commission. Ree Needy Frank, Special Events Director. As part of the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, the Town Commission has set aside $5,000 for individuals or groups to host a block party in their neighborhood. Town staff has developed the Neighborhood Block Party Grant Planning Guide to outline the requirements of the program. As part of the guide, some notable requirements include the organizer must submit a special event permit application no later than 60 calendar days prior to the proposed event. Block party events must take place January 1st, 2025 through September 31st, 2025, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. and must not interfere with bus or transit routes. All residents, property owner, or tenant on the block must sign the neighborhood block party acknowledgement form. This ensures that everyone is aware of the event and agrees to the street closure. At this time, town staff would like feedback from the Town Commission regarding the contents of the Block Party Grant Planning Guide and any suggestions or amendments that you may have.
I have a comment. Okay. What if everybody don't sign the paper?
That's what I'd like to hear. If you think it's
I mean, like, what if
everyone, 75% of the homes on the block,
we have like a
50%.
percentage? I mean, and do they have to? What if they go on vacation when you want to like have the block party? I mean, the block party.
We could not have the form and no one will have to sign it. That's totally up to you.
Yeah, what about if my neighbors spite me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to have the party and they say, no, I'm not going to sign the paper.
They might say,
Does
sorry,
that mean
we're
like
not.
no? Like everybody or no one at all?
You can do 75% of the homes on the block or 50%.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there needs to be acknowledgement, but we need to get to a percentage because I don't think it's going to be hard to get 100%.
Yeah.
Doesn't September just have 30 days?
It does have 30 days. I was going to say, I'm the last of September. It's not 31.
I know. I saw that. 75%?
I lean toward the C average.
50%?
Yeah. That's an F, no.
In 60 days. 60 days, we can't like move that, like maybe 30, 45 days?
It's only because we're asking them to fill out the special event permit application and just to give us time to process everything, notify community development, public works, PBSO, fire rescue, just giving us a little bit more time. But we could try to squeeze it in within 30 days. Right now, our special event permit application process is anything on public property or town property is 60 calendar days in advance. Private property is 30.
45 might be good, but that'll be good.
All right. I'm going to go with 60.
60% of the residents on the block?
I have like 14 houses, and I'm thinking,
Are you counting your block?
I'll go 75, and you can miss about 4 houses.
And what if you like are adjacent to public property, but on the other side of the public property is a resident? Do you have to now go to the resident on the other side of the public property, or could I just go to the public property, which would be the town?
You could do both. You could come to the town, but this would just be anywhere that the road closure will be. But I would assume that since the town is doing the block party grants, that we would say yes.
Yeah.
Is a block all the way around the block, or is it just a one block?
We were going to leave that up to the organizers to determine how large of a block that they would want to close off.
Well, say I live on Park Avenue. I can't close Park Avenue off. Would you allow parking for my party?
Well, Park Avenue would not be included because there's a bus route.
Bus route, man. The bus route.
There's bus stops
Some kind
there.
of lawsuit I can get for that, you know, exclusion.
You can come on down to Hawthorne and throw a party.
Huh.
Throw it in your backyard.
Well, in my backyard, I'll have a party in my backyard. How much do you get, $500? I can get a nice party in my backyard for that. Just have them come to my backyard. We can have shrimp and,
Well,
I don't
guess that's the
understand.
point.
You
Is
could
it
do
in the
that.
public right-of-way and not in someone's backyard?
Yeah.
It could be in someone's backyard.
Well, she said you could go.
The way they gonna park?
When I get my pavers, I'll have plenty of room.
If it was something like Park Avenue in Commissioner Taylor's backyard, the town could go ahead and block off the outside lanes of Park Avenue, like we do for some of the events.
Yeah, do the
Mm-hmm.
And just use it as parking?
As parking.
I have a problem if this is used for parties in people's backyards. Even though I invite the whole neighborhood, it's my own private party.
Yeah.
I understood these to be block parties out in the
Public.
public
On the street.
area.
Like
Yeah.
public. I never had a party.
Block parties in people's backyard will be their rules and their house rules and yeah. And we,
Big, isn't it? It's pretty big.
I do, go ahead, I'm sorry. I do have a question. I kind of think I know the answer, but I know this is from January to September due to the holidays or?
September, just simply because that's when the
Fiscal
fiscal
year.
year ends, yes.
I was just thinking about, other cities and towns that throw that little block party, Halloween party, so I was just thinking about that, yeah.
I don't know if any of you remember, we didn't necessarily call them block parties, but we had little block parties when we were promoting the bond referendum. When were the bond referendums in? 93, 94, 95?
I was in high school.
We just kind of brought a grill and a tent and popped up on a corner and invited the neighbors. It was actually done by Kiwanis.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't
Because
there.
the town couldn't
I wasn't there yet.
spend public dollars.
In history.
Yeah. Wow.
I like the idea.
A little history lesson. 'cause I
My
didn't
only
know that.
concern is the length of time for the permitting
Okay.
and how many people would need to be notified, like the percentage,
So for the permitting, no later than 45
I
calendar
think
days?
45 days is a good,
I would agree
is a
with
good
that.
number.
That
Okay.
seems feasible.
And, now I'm just hung up with 75 or, And then what if the person isn't there? What if they live up north? Their house is there. I mean, do I have to go and try to get a hold of them?
To sign, you're right.
Yeah, to sign it, you know what I mean? Like,
60,
I'm just,
Or if it's vacant.
60% give you half of the block and one.
Just a little bit over half, yeah.
But I agree with
1, 2, 3.
the backyard thing. Unfortunately, I thought about it. I plan on crashing every party, so.
And then would we have to get it from the property owner or the persons who are residing on the property?
Right now, it does say property owner or the tenant. Because we do realize that, for some of them, reaching out to the property owner would probably take some time.
And then we would have to come up with our own, emergency or evacuation plan? I mean, how do we block the streets? Do we get our own, do we use a car to block off the street? Do we have barriers that we have to block off? Do we come to you and request for it?
So the town would work with the organizer on an MOT plan to see if it's necessary. And then we, as a town, have barricades and cones that we could use. If it's anything over that, then we would have to reach out to maybe Acme Barricades to get additional road blockers.
Okay, and then I looked at the reimbursable, because I imagine this is by reimbursement.
Yes.
Right? The reimbursable, so you would, the receipts would then be submitted to you, and then you would have to confirm that that band actually came and played?
As long as I get a receipt, I won't call around, but as long as I get the receipt, then I would submit everything to finance and get their
And
money
why 9
reimbursed.
PM, the cutoff?
That was just an arbitrary time that we came up with.
What's the ordinance, 11? Can't, like, what the decibels for it, it has, is it 11, did she say? 11?
9 in
11,
residential.
did she say? 11? 9.
9.
I don't know, she's all the way back there. I can't really hear her.
Trying to have an after party?
Nothing good happens after 9.
Let's get the husband's response for this.
Do swales count, or flagler in the middle? Could that be a section you could use, or date palm, you know, where all the trees and everything? Could you have one there? That'd be a good spot to have one.
Yeah, it's still outdoors. It's not in anyone's backyard. Accessible to everyone in the public.
Well, what about if you had a block, and could you have it at the park? Could you have your
like,
block
what about
party
that?
at a park?
Yeah, what about that? It's like in your neighborhood,
She
but
could have it at her park. Could she have it at her park in front of her house?
So we can use your bathroom.
That sounds like a great idea, Commissioner Taylor.
Everyone can drive their golf carts over to her
Yeah,
park.
you can park right
Now
there.
that the ordinance is in place.
Yeah, you can park on the sidewalk.
okay, and that's the other thing. So we could use it like for porta potties? Like, we didn't see that on there.
No, if they live on a block, they go home and go to the bathroom.
No, I mean, but people.
We don't want no porta potties at a party. They can go home and go to the bathroom. They live on the block. Geez.
Okay.
I think if you wanted to rent portable restrooms, I think that would be
Right?
fine.
It could be a reimbursable expense.
Yeah.
Just to rent the bathroom. I'll rent my bathroom if they want to go in.
Okay. Okay. I think I made,
All right, I think I think you've gotten direction. All right.
So the number of people that need to sign the form, 50%? 25%? 10%?
No. Repeat that again for how many people that sign?
Why don't we think about this a while?
You want to think about it?
I would say
60.
I was going to say 50% have to agree, but you have to show that you provide notice to everyone. So
Correct.
they say, well, I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, right.
how are we gonna do that? Like,
You just,
make a phone call, do a text, give them certified letter? I mean, how are we gonna do that?
not certified, but
Knock on the door. You're in the same block. You don't want people to come to your party if you don't feel comfortable talking to them.
No, I'm just like saying that, because mine, I have several that are not there, ever, until, so that's all. Just me trying to think about how to, track them down.
So how would you suggest they show that they've reached out?
I'm not having any party. It's too much trouble.
I think you just do your best effort and, leave them a note and.
They can leave them the flyer.
Is everyone good at 50%?
I'm good at Lord.
Okay, so
50 is great, yeah.
50%?
Sure.
Okay,
Whatever you guys say.
50%.
You know,
I think, but make sure we, like Vice Mayor said, they notify everybody. Hey, yeah, I notified them. I put a flyer out, maybe a flyer to the neighbors, and get at least 50% of the signatures.
Well, you have that
like
sign-in sheet, right? They can
Yes.
sign the sign-in sheet that they've been notified.
Right, but if they're not there.
But they would have to be home to do so.
No, I got you.
If they created a flyer and you just go and hand it out
Yeah.
to your neighbors and drop it in their mailbox, or not in the mailbox, but the door, and get 50% of the signatures, I think that works pretty well, yeah.
Did we give you enough direction?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. No problem.
Thank you so much.
All right, next we have item number 16. I guess you guys are going to inform us that the town has received a historic preservation grant.
Yes, and I'll call on Jamie to present this item.
Okay.
You're up.
okay.
Yeah, we also got to talk about these friendly critters that are
Yeah.
visiting us
Yeah,
on this dais.
I thought we just got
This is the
informed.
ADA grant.
I think we just got informed.
So Good night, Commissioners. Again, I do apologize. I was just caught off guard. So this is just to recognize that we've received the grant portion of what we had already explained prior, and we had agreement from the board in order for us to move forward to the design for the ADA entrance to the chambers. So I believe the total amount is $30,512, if I'm not incorrect. And we've received the $15,000 from the grantor. So now we're moving forward to getting the consent from the commission to move forward, since we have already recognized our portion, is to move forward to get engineering architect services to start the design for the entrance, ADA entrance.
Okay, so you're just looking for consent for us to
Yes.
have you proceed.
To move forward to acquire, start doing the procurement process to acquire the architect and engineering services.
Okay, so you understand that it's just direction, it's not necessarily a motion. Do you all consent to that?
Well, there's a motion, recommended motion here.
Correct, for staff to proceed
Authorize
with
staff to proceed with procurement process for architectural services.
All right, so
I so move.
second.
Second, third.
Any other discussion?
No.
None, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? There you go. All right. And then finally, item number 17, Resolution 118-1224, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute the town consent agreement between Forest Development, P3 LPM LLC, and the town of Lake Park. Town manager.
And I would defer to the town attorney on this one.
Mr. Baird.
Forest Development is requesting the Town Commission acknowledge and consent to the developer having partners. This is pretty simple. If they're going to construct the 4 components, it has to be by someone, for example, that's going to operate a restaurant, by someone that's going to operate boat storage, by an entity that would operate eventually the marina, and then a hotel. So in order for those companies to invest their financial resources as part of the project, they understandably want to have some acknowledgement that they will be partners, although there will likely not be a specific partnership agreement between the parties, but they want to understand that they have the opportunity to discuss with Mr. Batarian the arrangements of their uses on their site. The comprehensive agreement doesn't specifically address this issue, but I would recommend that the commission approve the authorization for the mayor to execute the town consent agreement. And that is reflected in Resolution 118-1224. So you'd be looking for a motion, Mayor, to authorize the mayor to execute the consent agreement between the town and Forest Development.
Okay. If any questions, please ask. If not, I'm listening for a so moved. I think he articulated the motion quite well.
I move to approve Resolution 118-12-24.
Second.
Second.
We have first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing, hearing none. You have something?
This is for all, right? This is for all of, not just the hotel?
It's for all 4 components.
Okay, because it just stated here that it was.
Well, it's for whomever might be brought in to assist in
Correct.
But it's for
operate.
all 4 parts of the
Well,
project.
I don't know who he's talking with, what they're talking about, but anybody that's going to put any money into a project is going to want to have some operating control over whatever the entity they're constructing would be. So a hotel operator, just by way of example, if the Hilton Hotel were coming in here, they would want to be assured that they have some ability to influence the operation of the hotel on the site.
It wouldn't be the intent, I mean, I just wanted some clarification on this. Was it the intent of the commission to have say-so in the operation? I thought it was more or less the intent, and again, the intent of the commission was to be a partner in the development of it and to hold onto parcels that were owned by the town and to still have the control of that, but for the operation and day-to-day be left to the persons or partners that were going to be utilizing it. Was that the intent? No?
No.
No.
The P3 arrangement is the town is providing land.
Right.
There are 4 ground leases. Those 4 ground leases, the property will be occupied by 4 different components: hotel, restaurant, boat storage, and marina. And those 4 parcels presumably are going to be developed by 4 different developers. Mr. Batarian retains control over the development of the site to the extent that he has formed 4 separate limited liability companies that are responsible for and will be applicants for the site. But the actual operators of the site are not going to be, it's not going to be Forest Development that's actually operating a hotel or a restaurant on those sites. So in order for Forest to be able to attract developers who will actually bring buildings out of the ground on the property, they have to be assured that if they're going to put money into it, that it's not just Forest Development calling the shots for what the operation of their facility will be.
Correct.
So the 2 of them have to work together on that.
Here's a question. What if it is an entity, and this is just me asking a question. What if it's an entity that comes in that this commission is not in agreement with because of policies or past business operations or something of that nature, where would the commission be privy to something like that?
The commission's control over the sites
Would be
is
done.
the site plan approvals for the site.
Mhm.
So if there is an operational detail on the site that the commission feels like is not appropriate or doesn't work for that site, just to use an example, if there was some traffic circulation problem that existed for the hotel component, then as part of your site plan review of that project, you would either address that by a condition or tell the developer, go solve that problem and come back.
So I just want to be clear. So as far as it stands anyway, the town's involvement was for the lease and for the site plan approval of it. But the day-to-day operation would not have been part of us, nor would the contracting of it be a part of a say-so with the town anyway.
That's correct. It's just as if
This is just a surety on the part of the developer to say, here, I want to have control over the entity that's bringing in, because at this point in time, the town really would not have any say-so once the approvals were done.
well, the developer's control over the entities developing is he has a ground lease. And they're going to have to comply with whatever terms he dictates in terms of developing that individual site.
But it would be based on the dictation of us. I mean, we would have already approved what is going to go on those sites anyway. So by the nature of it, that's been approved.
This is not going to be any different as if the developer owned the land as opposed to a ground lease. But a 99 your ground lease is tantamount to ownership of the property.
Right.
So this is no different than any developer coming into the town seeking site plan approval for the site. The only distinction is that Mr. Batarian, and specifically Forest Development, retains overall control of the P3 project. And then the partners that he brings in, they have to work together to efficiently develop that site for those 4 different uses.
But wasn't that the intent of it anyway from the beginning?
The comprehensive agreement doesn't address specifically partners with the developer,
But it says
which is
P3.
why they're asking for your consent. They're essentially being transparent and saying, hey, we want to bring in these companies to develop this site, but they're not going to develop the site if they don't have some measure of control over the operation of the business on the site.
Which is an assurance for them to say that they have some say at the table, basically.
I don't think I can, maybe you all can explain it
I think
better.
you said it.
I don't know.
Oh, I think you, I think,
I don't think that there's an issue with what it is that's said.
I'm with you already.
I mean, I understand that. I'm just of the opinion of, once the P3 approval as far as the site was concerned, we weren't going to be involved in that.
You're not involved in it.
Right.
No, we're not.
Right, so that's why I kind of don't understand this, because to me, they would have had free control of what was going to happen anyway, because they're in control of that. So,
Now, the comprehensive agreement contains a provision in there. If you look at the agenda request form, it summarizes this particular situation, which is that the developer's not proposing transfer of control of any of these sites. What he is asking you to acknowledge is that he's going to have partners in the form of companies that will be developing on these 4 sites.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to have an assurance that they have some input in regards to the development of their site with him.
yeah.
And this comprehensive agreement doesn't specifically address that. I think it's really kind of a cautious approach that he wants you to know, I've got these companies that are coming in, their expectation is that I'm not going to be a dictator on how their site operates, that they have, because let's face it, a hotel company knows better than the owner of the property what they need to do on their site as part of the operation of the site. So presumably what will happen in the development scenario is that, again, for example, the hotel company will be meeting with Forest. They will say, okay, this is what we need in terms of the layout of the site. Then the site planners will provide you with a plan that reflects how the operator of that business believes the site should best operate. And then you have control over whether you approve the site plan for that specific component.
I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with forest development. I don't believe, in so working with them and them being part of our town for the last 4.5, 5 years, I haven't seen that. I begin to think when something comes in my head like this, when it's presented, because I keep thinking to myself, well, wait, are they partnering with people who have committed some mass atrocity or something like that? Not that it would be a concern to me, because whoever it is that you're dealing with, I know they're going to be up and up. But when these things come to my mind, I'm like, well, what could be so bad that,
No, I
that
think-
would be brought, you
I
know?
think it's simply just them being transparent about
Okay,
who they
'cause-
do business with, and us knowing that because it's not articulated in the comprehensive agreement. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
It's almost like if they didn't do this, and then you find out later something happened without them bringing this to our
Well, that's the thing, because now when you start bringing it, then I start thinking, well, who are you going to be in business with? I don't have an issue with this.
All right, so then
I don't have an issue.
we're good. We're good.
It's doubtful that Motel 6 will be operating.
Well, that's probably what we could afford. I mean, really.
All right. With that in mind, any other further discussion?
Why are you laughing? That's where I'm going to be.
All right, we have no other further discussion, right?
No.
Seeing here none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, resolution passes. Town Attorney, you have any comments?
So you're not Santa.
Okay.
Happy holidays.
Okay.
All right. And there you have it.
Oh, comments.
I do have
Town
a few,
manager.
and I'll make this quick because I know it's getting late.
All right.
All right. Information technology, we have launched a new cybersecurity training program designed to enhance our safe computing practices. Going forward and at the beginning of each month, new training module covering various security topics will be sent to all employees and elected officials, and we've already started this. These training modules are designed to be brief and engaging, and completion of these modules is mandatory, and any questions should be directed to our Chief Information Technology Officer. Lake Park Public Library, the town of Lake Park was an honorable mention for the small municipality category of this year's Read for the Record campaign. The town of Lantana was the Read for the Record winner. Lake Park Public Library would like to thank the Friends of the Lake Park Public Library for donating a flat screen television which replaces the over 7-year-old current TV. Library closures, the library will be closed on Christmas Eve, December 24th, Christmas Day, December 25th, and New Year's Day, January 1st. The library will be open Monday, December 23rd till 6 p.m. and until 8 p.m. on December 31st. Due to the holidays, ESOL or English as a second language, the homework club, chess club, and enrichment time will not be held starting Friday, December 20th. These activities will resume on January 6th, 2025 after the new year starts. There will be story times on December 21st, 28th, and January 4th. Children's crafts will be held on December 31st. At tonight's meeting, the Commission approved on second reading an amendment to the town's ordinance allowing the use of golf carts on local roads within town's jurisdiction. Per Florida statutes, local government permitting golf cart usage on their roads must install signage to communicate such allowances effectively. Currently, the Public Works Department lacks a comprehensive inventory of street signs across the town. However, based on historical data from 3 roads showing 116 signs, we estimate approximately 400 signs are installed throughout the town's road network, utilizing approximately 30 to 40% of the total estimated amount of signage. We would need 125 to 175 new signs. To comply with the ordinance requirements, we calculated an estimated cost based on these assumptions. 125 to 175 signs will be mounted on existing poles, estimated at $12,500 to $17,500. Inasmuch as the amount has not been budgeted for fiscal year 2025, because this ordinance had not been contemplated at that time, we will be bringing forth a budget amendment early 2025 to provide for such amounts so that the required signage can be installed. Special events, City of Riviera Beach, Martin Luther King Parade. The Town Commission received an invitation to participate in the annual Martin Luther King Jr. Parade, hosted by the City of Riviera Beach on Saturday, January 18, 2025 at 10 a.m. At this time, we would like to know if there are any commissioners who would like to participate. And if you would like to participate, please contact Janet Perry in the Town Manager's Office at 881-3304. Lake Park Elementary Caroling Event. Students from Lake Park Elementary will be caroling on Thursday, December 19th from 5 to 6 p.m. The students will start at Lake Park Elementary, travel north towards Forest Area Drive, west towards 6th Street, south on 6th, east on Evergreen, and back to the school. For more information, please contact Special Events Department at 561-840-0160. There are a few items for which we are seeking consensus.
Merry Christmas.
Burt Bostrom Park upcoming construction. I would like to bring to your attention a potential safety concern regarding the upcoming construction of Burt Bostrom Park. The stormwater storage chamber installation is scheduled to begin in January 2025. And due to the heavy construction activities involved, we strongly recommend closing the entire park to the public for the duration of this phase of the project, which is estimated to be 60 to 90 days. While the basketball court and playground on 6th Street are currently fenced off, there is still a risk that children, driven by curiosity, may attempt to access the construction zone, and we are seeking town commission consensus on the recommendation to the closure of Bert Bostrom Park during the construction period as the project presents a significant safety issue. What is the commission's direction on this?
I think if it's a safety concern, yeah.
Have consensus to close for that period of time? Okay.
Yes, close it.
Okay, all right. Town of Lake Park Code legal review update. The Civic Plus legal review of the Town of Lake Park Code will be done at the earliest mid-January 25 and latest beginning of 2025. The agreement date for completion for December 31st, 2024 is said to be the ending of the initial term and not associated to the completion date of legal review. If it is a desire of the Town Commission, it can be requested of the attorneys to escalate this project to urgent. Is that the Town Commission's consensus?
Get it done.
Get her done.
Get her done. All right. There's an item on the town manager comment that we were going to seek consensus to pull the contract from Brandano because they had not honored their contract for the erection of the decorations at Town Hall. Our Public Works Director reached out to them a while ago and told them that they had to have it up by tonight or by today. Otherwise, we were going to recommend to the commission that we cancel the contract and not pay them. We noticed that a significant degree of the decorations are now up, and I have the consensus from the town Public Works Director that it's not now necessary to cancel or terminate the contract. However, going forward, we're going to look very closely into doing business with them again next year, and if we enter into a contract with them, the contract will contain a penalty clause at the direction of the town attorney. Location.
Well, I don't know that we should pay them for getting it up so late if they just got it up today.
Just got it up today.
Not meeting the terms of the agreement.
I was also under the impression that Town Hall itself was going to be coded.
Instead of just the two figures in front?
I wasn't expecting it just to be the two trees and two figures in front.
Thought it'd be up for the festivities, too.
It was supposed to have been complete by November 24th, 2024, and that did not occur.
Oh, that as well.
So you want to recommend withholding payment?
We're gonna withhold some payment.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna withhold some money.
We needed it by the tree lighting.
Yep. Yeah, we did. Okay. I'll work with the town attorney to see how we can accomplish that. The location of the lawless sales office or the barge deed modification matter. In our conversation with the Florida DEP regarding the deed modification matter, DEP made it clear that the lawless sales office must be relocated from its present location. We reached out to Forest Development and asked them to identify any land available on their property to where it could relocate its sales office. Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. I advised the commission by email that the Palm Beach North Chamber of Commerce has completed its new business resource center, where new businesses can find resources to assist with startups, networking, and education opportunity. I provided you with their checklist on which the first item is write your business plan. I have invited Palm Beach North Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Noel Martinez to our January 15, 2025 commission meeting to give a presentation about this new resource center, as well as talk about the assistance the chamber provides to Lake Park Elementary School, which not many people know about. I've also asked him to say a few words about the chamber's ribbon cutting packages for new businesses. I had invited him to tonight's meeting, but he had another engagement. hurricane-ready presentation by WPVF. I've also advised the commission by email that now that the 2024 hurricane season has come to a close, it's time to start identifying ways in which we can assist our residents in preparing for the 2025 hurricane season. Toward that end, I reached out to WPVF and arranged to have one of their meteorologists come to Town Hall to give a hurricane-ready presentation, which will be open to the public and will occur on Saturday, May 10th, 2025 at noon here in the Commission Chamber in order to facilitate live streaming. We will get information out there, all of our informational channels to the public in anticipation of this event. Holiday office closures, Christmas week updates, all town park offices, all town of Lake Park offices except for Lake Park Harbor Marina will be closed on Christmas Eve, Tuesday, 2024. December 24, 2024, the Lake Park Harbor Marina will operate from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. All town and Lake Park offices, including Lake Park Harbor Marina, will be closed on Christmas Day, Wednesday, December 25th, 2024. Sanitation services for Christmas week are as follows. Monday, December 23rd, garbage, cart, and vegetation collection. Wednesday, December 25th, no service in observance of Christmas. Dumpster service will move to Thursday, December 26th. Thursday, December 26th, garbage cart and bulk trash collection. Friday, December 27th, recycling cart collection. For New Year's week updates, all town offices except for the Lake Park Harbor Marina will be closed on New Year's Day, Wednesday, January 1st, 2025. Lake Park Harbor Marina will operate on normal business hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sanitation services for New Year's week are as follows. Monday, December 30, garbage cart and vegetation collection. Wednesday, January 1st, no service in observance of New Year's Day, and no change to dumpster service. Thursday, January 2nd, garbage cart and bulk trash collection, and Friday, January 3rd, recycling cart collection. And that concludes my formal contract comments, but I would like to say that this is my last evening on the agenda, on the dais as interim town manager, and I appreciate having this opportunity to serve in this capacity. So thank you.
Great job.
Just put that little emotional moment right there at the right time. No, it's a pleasure having you serve as always in the interim. Commissioner comments. I'm going to start with my right. Commissioner Hensley.
Yes, I have one comment. Actually, request of a future agenda item. I know that we had it here once before in the town, and I was wondering if we can have on a future agenda item for us as a commission to discuss a code enforcement committee. Now, that's just, we could put it on the agenda to discuss it, and if you could give each of the commission some sort of old documents on how the committee was formed and
Actually, I can reach you to that because I made that request myself to our town clerk, and she has found documentation, and she'll be able to provide us all with it.
Oh, thank you.
So you're saying a code enforcement board rather than a special magistrate?
That's the question. I know what she's
Is that
saying.
what you're asking about?
Well, I would like for us to discuss it, able to discuss which one we want.
Well, we have a magistrate. Do you mean to change? Well, I think that's something the town attorney needs to take the lead on, and
The primary reason why the commission went from a code enforcement board to a magistrate was they could never get a quorum for the code enforcement board. That was back.
That was in the early 2000s.
Before Deska Du Bois was mayor. Because Deska was the chair of the code enforcement board, and there would be 2 board members showing up. And most cities don't use a code enforcement board anymore. The town of Palm Beach is probably the exception, but it's much more efficient with a magistrate than it is having.
just what I've experienced is residents don't want to penalize their fellow residents because then they feel they may be retribution of some kind.
And it takes a long time. The board, I mean, there's a lot of cases, and they have to go through those cases. It's very time consuming. It's very time consuming for you to have a board when there are a number of cases that you have to like go through as a board. They have to deliberate on it. It's a long process. For an attorney, it's very, very efficient. It's them that's the docket, and you sort of like move on. I don't know, we do have boards that are here, but most of our boards probably last, a couple of hours at most. With a code enforcement board, it is all day. There isn't anything, I haven't seen a board last less than 5 hours with a code enforcement, just because I know that I've dealt with them. So I'm just saying.
Commissioner Hensley, have you had an interest from the public for a board?
I have.
'Cause I've heard myself.
Yeah, I have, and I've received emails and phone calls about it. So that's why I requested information, just to get an understanding on what it takes, the process, and that's why I wanted to get information to us to
Can
look
we,
at
for
it.
right now, just provide it with the documentation before we actually make it?
Well, I think that's something that needs to come from the town attorney.
Okay, that's fine. Because if you have documentation as well, that's fine.
Documentation of what?
Of any old documents showing what the board's entailments are, what their duties were.
It's all laid out in Chapter 162, and the responsibilities of the board are the same as the magistrate.
Okay. Well, then you can look it up that way, and then if you see we'd like to pursue it.
And
then-
I'm happy to provide a memo that details what the code enforcement board process is, but it doesn't change whether it's a code enforcement board or a magistrate. What changes is you have, assuming they show up, 5 individuals, each of whom, just like you all weigh in on an agenda item, each of those 5 individuals will weigh in on the specific case that's brought in front of them and discuss it. And
Let me ask you this question. Could they act as an advisory?
no.
Okay,
They
that's,
have to make a decision.
So,
okay.
yeah. And so that will be, like when residents call us emails, this will be great information to have so we can respond back to them. Just to give them an answer about why we can or why we can't be able to do it. So that's why I request the information.
Well, you can do it, and you did do it, and it didn't work. I mean, to be candid, it didn't work, because, in large part, because you never got a quorum. And you don't get a quorum, I believe, because if you're sitting on a code enforcement board and your neighbor comes up here and they're cited for not mowing their yard, and the code enforcement board goes, oh yeah, well, sometimes that happens, so no violation, pretty soon you'll have everybody not mowing their yard. I mean, I've been on both sides of that. I've advised code enforcement boards. I've been the town prosecutor of code enforcement boards, and I've been a code enforcement magistrate. And by far the magistrate takes the neighbor out of the process. And, the board members don't have to feel like they're doing something to their neighbor if they make a decision.
Gotcha.
And, another thing you had a lot of times with code enforcement boards, and it's been 20 years since I've represented a code enforcement board because everybody's gone to magistrate, but the other thing you had was code enforcement board members wanted to abstain from voting because it was their neighbor or it was somebody on their street or something like that, which they're not permitted to do because you have to have a financial interest to abstain from voting. So the legislature, I believe, recognized the inefficiency of code enforcement boards. And, It's too bad Brett's not here to tell you about the town of Palm Beach's code enforcement board and how long those cases, and we're talking about Palm Beach, so I mean,
Yeah.
they usually mow their yards, but he's there all afternoon from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock with that board. But I mean, the commission certainly you can decide to go back to a code enforcement board if that's what you want to do. But the process doesn't change. It's just who's making the decision.
I'd say if you need more information, set up a time to talk with the town attorney.
All right, anything else? Commissioner Thomas?
No, that's good.
No? Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. I just really wanted to apologize for the mere fact that I've missed like 2 events with the town, but they were justifiable events. My baby graduated, and so I'm just so happy, so now I can't believe that I'm a little girl with 2 adult children that are on their own, so I'm just very, very excited about that. So I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Happy Kwanzaa, all of those above. Thank you.
Commissioner Taylor?
Thank you very much for the fish sandwich. I didn't get a chance to get back with you. Oh my God, it was good.
You weren't around.
Oh my God, they were good.
We
They
were supposed to
deluxe.
keep that.
Oh,
That was a hint.
I forgot. Anyway, thank you very much, and happy holidays to everybody. And I'm really looking forward to New Year's. That's my favorite holiday. So
A new year.
a new year, a new start. So I think it's really exciting about the scrub area, and I'm really sorry about the fish. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Vice Mayor?
Thank you to Ms. Turner for helping us muddle through the last couple months. But we know you're not going anywhere, so you'll still be here to help us along. But Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. I look forward to working with you in the new year.
I echo everybody's sentiment, as well as thank you to you, Bambi, for helping us get through these waters. I, too, get to celebrate because my son just finished his class for EMT, and now he just has to take his certification, and he's a full-fledged EMT. And then my daughter will be graduating on my birthday with her master's degree on my actual birthday.
Yeah,
So
good.
next year will be fun and exciting as well. But thank you to you staff, as always, for what you do. You make us whole when it comes to making decisions up here, and we appreciate everybody for their part in making this town move. So, Commissioner Thomas, you have one more thing?
Yeah, I forgot. I actually forgot. Ms. Riuniti, MLK, what we doing?
She's just looking to see if people are going to, you talking about the one at Riviera Beach?
No, we have it here.
The Towns event
Yeah,
or Riviera Beach?
Yeah, ours.
The Towns event, it's Friday, January 17th, so it's the evening before the parade from
Yeah.
6 to 9 in Kelsey Park. We're having live entertainment, bounce houses, face
Did I
painting.
see anything like that? Was it in there? I didn't think I saw it in there.
I sent to save the date, but I don't think it's in.
It wasn't.
in.
That's what I was
this.
waiting
No,
for.
but I'll send you guys the flyer tomorrow.
Okay.
We have everything, and we also are going to do the mobile mural that
Yes,
was done.
that exactly.
They are working
exactly.
on a design
Yes,
to have that done
definitely.
at the event. So
Definitely,
we'll do that.
definitely. Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
All right, if we have no other comments, entertain a motion of adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Aye, and bye. Amen.